Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 93. And welcome back to another edition of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Brent Felsing, and joining me tonight, Mr. Benjamin Boyce. Benjamin, it's a two-man show tonight. We gave Frankie and Ben the night off. They're playing video games, celebrating birthdays. I think Frankie's dad's birthday was this weekend, so happy birthday, Mr. Ayler.
Happy birthday.
Just me and you tonight, buddy.
Yeah. A little blast from the past again.
Got a lot to talk about this week, too. We got some, we got hardware and software coming out this week.
Yeah.
Gonna be good stuff.
Busy week.
Yeah, big time. But what have you been playing, though, man? I know Thursday night, you had the Thursday Night Indie Spotlight. Seraph, what were your thoughts on that?
Fired up Seraph for an hour or so on the Spotlight. It's fun, man. I like it. It's a really interesting game in the fact that it just the auto aiming thing is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of, the game just, it automatically aims at whatever enemies are coming at the screen on you. So it basically just allows you to just focus on your defense, your dodging, and the kind of acrobatic ballet that you're able to do with this character in terms of your movement and you're trying to dodge enemies and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's a smooth game. It's a smooth experience. It runs pretty well with everything going on the screen. The game itself the game world's a little sterile. The story is just ass. It's just a waste of time. It's basically talking heads in between levels, and I would have preferred it if they just didn't even have it in there at all. The thing that surprised me about the game is the RPG mechanics in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a surprising amount of depth in this game in terms of your abilities and your weapons and the crafting system that's in the game. It's a little obtuse. The game doesn't do a great job at explaining its mechanics or its systems to you, so It's kind of something you got to learn as you go along. But I like that there's this whole other back end system that's going on that you have to do inside of the game. So it's not simply just run, shoot, repeat, but there's a whole nother strategy aspect to the game as well. So I like that a lot. I like when games do that. I like that this is a side-scrolling action game. It's a genre that I often get into, and I think there's some redeeming qualities with Seraph. I want to play it some more to see how it pans out. I'm in a new world now. Met a new character, so I'll have to see where things go from here. But initial impressions are positive. I would have liked it if the world was a little more interesting. I mean, you're playing as a character who's an angel, and you're trying to break out or do something. I don't really know what's going on in the story, but you would think with this kind of a setting, with this kind of a character, that there'd be some more interesting stuff going on, but not the case right now. But it is fun from a gameplay perspective, and I'm hoping to get some more time in with it.
Yeah, when I was watching the video, I really liked the aspect of it, using the blink ability to kind of dodge enemies. And I always liked games like that because it's almost like you're dancing with the enemies. When you see what they're going to do, you got to learn their moves, learn what they're going to do. Some of them have patterns. And to be able to use your blink ability while you're doing your acrobatic moves as you're kind of moving your way around them as you're attacking them, I always find that stuff really appealing because it's a real flow-based type of combat. You got to really figure out what the enemy's going to do, and you're trying to get a flow while you get your attacks in. And I really dig that about the game. That's from what I could see in the video. I was like, that looks like that'd be a lot of fun because I'm sure once you master all the moves and you master all the abilities and you're working your way around these a screen full of enemies, it's probably very satisfying to eliminate a bunch of enemies at one time while avoiding getting hit.
Yeah, somebody who really knows how to play that game and like you said, has mastered the systems, it's probably really cool to watch them play that game. To watch them jump around and tackle the enemies and switch your weapons and use your abilities. It probably looks awesome. I'm not that person yet. Hopefully in the future I could be that person. But yeah, it's definitely a game that has a nice flow to it, and when you get in there and you really learn the nuances of all the systems that are at play, I bet it looks really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I dig the soundtrack too. The soundtrack was pretty sweet. I couldn't find it on iTunes, So I gotta check and see if it's on Steam, because sometimes if you buy the game on Steam, you get the soundtrack.
Mhm.
But the only problem with that is I am flat broke with all these games that have come out this year. Plus, I've got the Pro paid off. Plus, I made my move. I'll have my TV tomorrow. I got a 4K HDR TV.
Yeah, that didn't take long.
Yeah.
to change that tune.
Yeah. I still have the other TV that I'm still trying to sell. That's gonna determine the wife's happiness, acceptance of buying this TV, is whether or not I can sell this TV off. If I still have this TV in January, February, there's gonna be hell to pay.
I know all about that. Trust me.
So, but yeah, Seraph looked like a really cool game. So if you guys or girls want to check it out, go over to YouTube, our Short Pause Gaming channel. The Thursday Night Indie Spotlight, episode number 38, is up there right now. Seraph Boyce plays through it for a good hour, just like he does with every episode of the Thursday Night Indie Spotlight. It goes live on Twitch, 10 o'clock every Thursday night. We'll pull off an indie title that might be an under-the-radar gem and play through it and and Ben gives his thoughts on it. It's a great stream. I've bought many a game that I wasn't thinking about picking up after watching his stream, so check it out, Seraph. It's on our YouTube gaming channel right now. Did you play anything else other than Seraph, man? Did you get anything else in?
That's it, dude. It's been a rough gaming go here lately. So
Yeah.
just been able to get a few rounds in here and there with the indie games, but that's about it.
Well, that's because you haven't bought any other games, because you pissed all your money away on the Final Fantasy Collector's Edition. So
yeah, got the countdown going, man. It's coming to be here soon.
Gosh, we're recording. It's the 5th, and we're 24 days away, dude.
24 days.
Is that just going to be your game through like December and January, basically? Are you just going nonstop Final Fantasy for like 2 months straight?
That's the goal. I mean, I'd like to just spend my December playing through it.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to be a gigantic game. I mean, this is going to be upwards of 50 hours just to complete the main storyline. That doesn't even take into account all the side quests and world exploration, everything that goes into a Final Fantasy game. So, I mean, this is a game that in order for me to play it the way I want to play it, it's going to take a good 100 hours. So if I can dedicate the majority of my December to that, and probably a lot of January as well, maybe get a few days off work here and there where I can just play the game during the holiday season. It's that's the way I want to go.
I'm actually thinking about joining on that quest, because I'm not getting The Last Guardian, not right away. I'll probably get it at some point, but I just couldn't make that happen. I'm looking at all these games I'm picking up.
Yeah.
I've got Dishonored 2 this week. The following week I've got Watch Dogs 2, and I really want to play that. I know that'll take about a good 2 weeks to probably play through completely. So I look at December and I'm like, gosh, I just want to have one game, because I mean, all this month it's just been new game after new game after new game after new game, and you're rushing to play all these games. I think December would be a perfect time just to like sit back with one game, Final Fantasy 15, and just play at my leisure and just enjoy it. I don't want to rush through it. I don't want to sit there and have to cram everything in. I just want to play one game for a month, probably 2, and that's it. And that's I'm going to try to do that with Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, that's actually the way I like to play my games. I would like to just sit down with one game, play it to its completion, get all the trophies, like just do everything I can in the game, just sit down and really just get my money's worth out of it. Like that's really how I like to play games. That's how I played Final Fantasy VII back in the day. I think I put 200 hours into that game, just doing everything and doing all the side quests and trying to beat the secret weapons and all that kind of stuff. So, if I can do that with Final Fantasy 15, if I can just kick back, kind of focus on that and just really, really dive into it. I spent a lot of money on this thing, so I really need to get my money's worth out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it though, man. I'm interested in Watch Dogs 2, which comes out not this week but next week. I think that looks like a really cool game, but it's going to be a big game, and there's no way I'm getting into that before I get into Final Fantasy that's coming out in the near future. I do want to pick up The Last Guardian. That's the other one that I really want to get, but man, with it coming out only a week after Final Fantasy, I don't really want to have to step away from that game if I'm deep into it at that point. So we'll have to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's so hard to plan stuff out. I mean, my goal is to obviously start Dishonored 2 this weekend, play through quite a bit throughout the week, and then, Watch Dogs 2 comes out next week, but I'll probably push that back, another week just so I can get to Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 is seriously, every day closer we get to it, the more excited I am for this game. More excited than most other games that have come out this year.
Yeah.
I just really want to play Dishonored 2, and we'll talk about it here in a few minutes. But
That's a Friday game too, so you're only looking at 3 days, 4
Yeah.
days between that and Watch Dogs.
Yep. So, I mean, that's why next Tuesday I'll be off. I'm going to play a ton of Dishonored 2, hopefully get through a good portion of that on Tuesday, and then maybe start Watch Dogs later next week, like on a Friday or something like that. So, but man, this is the fall rush I mean, we are drowning now in games. I mean, we're just completely swamped.
I mean, you've played through quite a few of them yourself recently here.
Yeah, I played through. I played quite a bit of the Battlefield 1 multiplayer. I really enjoy that. I love the multiplayer in Battlefield 1. It's very fresh. It's gritty. It's super fun. The maps are great. Playing with the team is fantastic. I love the medic class. The weapons are awesome. They're so primitive compared to what we're used to, but they're so unique and awesome to use. I really enjoy the weapons in Battlefield 1. Like I said, the maps look great. I've only played through the first area or the first story of the campaign. I know there's like 5 or 6. I played through the first one. I think it's called like Ground and Mud or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but played through that. Really enjoyed that. There was actually some pretty cool stealth elements to that campaign early on in the first area. There's some cool stealth elements that I wasn't expecting in a Battlefield game that I really enjoyed. So I really enjoyed the first story. If the rest of those stories are just like that one, I think this is going to be an awesome campaign. I played through the Titanfall 2 campaign, which was freaking awesome. That deserves a lot of the praise it's been getting. I really, really enjoyed that campaign. The relationship between you and your Titan is so cool. It's so good, and it's so well done. And, we talked about, previously how, there's like these, you can choose 2 different responses to your Titan. And even though they're the most basic responses, some of them have some levity to them. Some of them are more serious. And it just allows you to kind of build a relationship just through like basic responses. And the responses you get from your Titan are very sincere. But then there's like a lot of interaction during the game that's just is very unique. And it does do what it set out to do, was like kind of focus on the bond between Titan and pilot. But then you've got this epic campaign that's so unique in so many missions. There's one mission that just involves using a glove, and there's some time manipulation going on, and it is absolutely fantastic. You kind of heard us talking about it in our Discord conversation. Bender, Frankie, and I were all talking about it. It is one of the best missions I've played in a long time in any game. It's just so well done. It's so well designed, and it's just one of the highlights from an overall fantastic campaign. It's really, really, really good. I really enjoyed Titanfall 2's campaign. Haven't touched the multiplayer yet. I feel terrible about that, but it's hard to do that when Call of Duty comes out. So now I'm playing Call of Duty. I'm going through the campaign, which I'm really, really enjoying so far. The voice acting, the facial animations are very good. The characters are very good so far. The combat feels good. The game feels, I hate saying this because it's so subjective, because I could sit there and say it feels super smooth, and somebody else be like it feels the same. For whatever reason, when I first started playing it, the movements and everything just felt much smoother. Even though it's not nearly as fast as like Black Ops 3 was. It just feels smoother, the movements. I don't know what it was. I noticed it right away when I was playing them. I was like, man, it feels different. It feels smoother. And so that took some getting used to it in a good way. I was like, wow, this is actually really nice. But the weapons feel good. The combat's good. It's your typical Call of Duty campaign early on, but it's got strong performances, strong presentation, lots of explosive action. I really enjoy that. I'd say I'm probably about maybe a third of the way through the campaign. I know it's not very long, but the space combat is really cool. The ship controls take a little getting used to. Like, you use the left stick to accelerate. You push forward to accelerate, and then you click down to boost. But the minute you let go of the stick, or you come almost like to a stop. You're almost like hovering. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, because you're using the right stick to do the rolling and the up and down and whatnot. But it just takes a little bit of getting used to. But overall, once you get the hang of it, it's actually really exciting. It's really good space combat. So really enjoying the campaign. Multiplayer is pretty fun. I suck something fierce. I do my best at domination. That's like your control points. I really like that mode. The there's a lot of depth to the weapon system. You can unlock like different variations of your gun through loot crates or through zombie crates. Like some guns are, you'll have your basic assault rifle, the first one you unlock, but then there's like an epic version, a legendary version that all have like perks built into it that you don't get from like, your add-ons. So there's some cool depth there with the weapons, but overall it's a fun multiplayer. I mean, it's Call of Duty. I mean, it's Call of Duty. I don't think it's as fast and as chaotic as Black Ops 3. It feels a little bit slower. The boosting when you jump doesn't feel as pronounced. It ends a little bit sooner. But overall, I think it's entertaining. It's fun. Like I said, I suck at it until I go play Domination. Then I'm actually pretty good because I love just control points and working with people and calling stuff out. So really like that. And I only spent a little bit of time with the zombies, but from what I did play, I only got to about like round 7 solo. It's hilarious. I mean, it's an awesome 80s setting. There's 80s music playing throughout the theme park, like licensed music. The Hoff is your DJ. And you got Pee Wee Herman doing the Weiler guy. He's like the director, and then you've got your cast of characters that you play as. So it seems pretty cool, but I haven't had a lot of time with it yet to really sink my teeth into it.
Yeah, so you kind of ran the gamut of the shooters there then.
Man, like I said, it's just
it's
just nonstop, dude. It's just nonstop.
Yeah, I'll still never quite understand why they did it that way. But that's how it is. And we saw a story earlier this week that Titanfall 2 has not performed, where EA wanted it to perform. And this is based on just week 1 UK sales. I guess they do stuff weekly over there. We look at the numbers monthly over here. But I guess, for the first few days it was on the market, it sold less than what the original Titanfall did. And wow. I mean, that has to be a direct correlation to where it was released in the schedule,
absolutely.
Right? I mean,
absolutely.
If they would have held this game off and released it next March, how different would the story have been, especially with the game being as well received as it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the game's got a very high Metacritic rating. The critics are very high on it. Gamers love it. A lot of people are talking about the campaign and the multiplayer. And it's just kind of, I don't even know if it matters. We put up a poll this week asking people which game they were going to play, and Battlefield ran away with that thing.
Yep.
I mean, this isn't like a scientific poll or some grand sample size we had, but just taking the little poll that we did into account. What did we have in there? We had Battlefield, Titanfall, Call of Duty, obviously. What was the other shooter we had in there?
We had Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh, Modern Warfare. Okay. Yeah, so we basically asked, what are you guys going to be playing this fall? In terms of your what's going to be your shooter of choice, or was it multiplayer shooter of choice? Is that the way it was phrased?
Yeah, what will be your multiplayer game of choice?
Yeah, and what you have the results there?
Yeah, out of 120 people, 67% said Battlefield 1. Titanfall 2 came in at 19%. Modern Warfare Remastered came in at 9%. And Infinite Warfare finished dead last at 5%. I'm calling BS on that, though, man. There's a lot of people playing Call of Duty on my friends list. I think there's some BS there, but it's whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know what the composition of our followers are on Twitter, but we must not have a lot of Call of Duty fans on there. So once again, not like the most scientific poll, but just gives us a quick glimpse into maybe the way people are thinking about this shooter season that we're just in the midst of right now. So I think it's interesting, and we had the unfortunate story about Titanfall. So hopefully that that it'll be kind of a game that sustains itself over the long term, especially with the free maps and stuff they have coming out. Mm-hmm. So this is not a sky is falling situation by any means for Titanfall, but once again, I'm gonna be interested to watch how it all plays out with that.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I was playing, man. But there's a lot of stuff coming up this week. I can't play Call of Duty forever. We got some big titles this week. 2 of them I'm excited to get my hand. One I already got my hands on. It's sitting right over here. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. But boys, what's going on with these new releases, man?
And we're gonna get to those 2 games you're talking about in a second. But the first thing we got to talk about is something else you got arriving on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And that's the PS4 Pro.
Yep.
So it's finally here. Crept up on us pretty quick.
Good.
So Thursday, November 10th, you've gone out and purchased a 4K HDR TV. So you're roaring ready to go for this thing.
Yep.
So you got the system coming, you got the TV, you got all the games and stuff that are coming with it. And I don't know if you've been following this, man, but the embargo has lifted on the PS4 Pro. And, the press have put out a lot of different impressions, a lot of people talking about what they've done with the system. We've seen the unboxing for it. And it just seems like there's nothing but positive feedback on this machine, man. I mean, people are really enjoying this machine when they actually see it in action, when they actually see it on an HDR TV, on a 4K TV. It seems like it's impressing people even more so than they were expecting. Like when they're actually getting a chance to see this thing, they're like, "Wow, this really looks incredible." The fact that we have a home console that is now looking like this on a big screen is pretty amazing. So, hearing nothing but good things about the PS4 Pro. So how excited are you, man, to get your hands on this thing now that you got your new TV, based on everything we're hearing from the press and all of this like technical wizardry that's going into this thing apparently.
Well, you know me, man. I'm a tech whore, and based on everything that we've heard from all these people who have gone hands-on with it, like I said, first of all, I'm a tech whore first, but I'm always just excited when it comes to gaming stuff. And it's and the PlayStation Pro is the same way as the PlayStation VR. You can hear people talking about it, you can hear people talking about it, and they can say whatever they want, and you can get excited for it. But the thing is, you're not going to know for yourself until you try it out. And, you can show me the screenshots. You can show me 4K videos on YouTube. I know I'm not going to see the true result until this thing is hooked up to my TV behind me and I'm sitting down playing in my own basement. So, I mean, I'm excited just for new tech. Like I said, it sounds like this thing runs really, really well. From some of the people, there's some retailers that have broken the street date, and there are PS4 Pros already out in the wild. And a lot of these people have taken to like Reddit and whatnot, and they've been talking about it, and they say this thing runs silent. It's much quieter than the OG PS4, which is impressive considering everything that's built into this thing. It just sounds like it's a great system. A lot of people are talking about the visuals just look really, really good, and I'm excited to see it, man. I mean, like I said, that's why I bought the 4K TV. I mean, I didn't feel right having a PS4 Pro and not having a 4K TV. That's like buying an HD TV, but then not getting HD service. Be like, oh, it just looks good. No, you gotta go for the whole thing. You gotta go the whole 10 yards. Yeah. So I'm just really excited to check it out. I'm really excited to get my hands on it. I'll be on it first thing Thursday morning. Come home, hook everything up, and be good to go, man. But I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm not gonna have a PS4 Pro on Thursday. I don't have a TV to go with it, so that's gonna have to be something for down the line. The more I read about it, there are quite a few enhancements for 1080p TV owners on this machine. So they're going to get improved frame rates, improved graphics, all that stuff's going to come for them as well. But it doesn't sound like that's going to be enough to warrant a purchase of the system. Like, in order to purchase the PS4 Pro, you really got to have a 4K TV to take advantage of it. I mean, just on a regular 1080p TV, you're going to see modest gains that aren't really going to be worth the extra $400 you're going to fork out for the machine. Yeah, but I love what I'm reading about the machine. It's really exciting. Like, I really, really want to get one. I just got to make the TV part of it happen, and then we can get down to business on this. The other cool thing they did this week, Brent, was they announced the 40 plus games that are going to be enhanced for the PlayStation 4 Pro at launch. So I'm gonna run down this list real quick, get your thoughts on it. So we got Battlezone, of course, that's the VR title. Bound, a trio of Call of Duty titles in Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and Modern Warfare Remastered, all getting PS4 Pro patches prior to the launch of the system on Thursday. Mankind Divided, Deus Ex, Dishonored 2 will be ready. So when you bring that home on Friday, guess what, dude? You'll be playing that in 4K HDR. Drive Club VR, FIFA 17, Firewatch, a game that struggled a little bit on the PS4, so I'll be interested to see how that performs on the Pro. Helldivers, Hitman, Hustle Kings, Infamous First Light and Second Son, Knack, Mafia 3, Mantis Burn Racing, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, one of my favorite games on the system, NBA 2K17, Paragon, PlayStation VR Worlds, Ratchet & Clank, Res Infinite, Riggs, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Robinson the Journey, another game you recently picked up that you can play in on the Pro this coming Thursday, Smite, Super Stardust Ultra, that one's got to look rad, The Elder Scrolls Online Gold Edition and Tamriel Unlimited, Skyrim Special Edition, The Last of Us Remastered and The Last of Us Left Behind, the Playroom VR, Titanfall 2, Uncharted 4, Until Dawn Rush of Blood, Viking Squad, a game that looks great on the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Really curious to see how that one's going to look. Wheels of Aurelia, World of Tanks, and XCOM 2. So these are the games that are going to be ready for launch on Thursday. In addition to the titles listed above, more than 45 games will be optimized for the PS4 Pro by the end of the year, including Watch Dogs 2, Killing Floor 2, The Last Guardian, and Final Fantasy 15, with the likes of Neo, Resident Evil 7, and For Honor to follow in early 2017. Further to that, all first-party software launched in 2017 and beyond, including Gravity Rush 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, and Gran Turismo Sport, will enjoy the benefits of the quote-unquote world's most powerful console. So this is the list that was unveiled by Sony. So Brent, let me get your thoughts on this, man. There's some interesting games in here, and what I want to get your thoughts on first is there's a lot of VR games in here as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have not heard Sony talk much about VR in terms of how its performance is going to be improved through the PS4 Pro. So seeing all those games in here, what do you think about that, and what else stands out to you on this list?
Well, obviously, like you said, all the VR games. That's the strangest thing why they're so quiet about. I mean, they really have not talked much about that, and that makes me wonder why not. I mean, this is supposed to enhance these games quite a bit. I mean, from what I have played, with the exception of a couple of titles, I thought the VR games looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
On the base model PS4. So, I mean, if these things are going to look much better, you would think Sony would talk about it more. You know what I'm saying? But it's just I'm curious to see how these games look, especially like Robinson: The Journey. It's really weird. I didn't see Eve Valkyrie on that list.
Yeah, Eve not on this initial list.
So hopefully that's one of the 45 titles that'll get updated, because I'd like to see how much better that game can look. Because I thought that looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
But and another game that I didn't expect to see on this list was Helldivers.
Yeah, man.
So
Helldivers.
I'm kind of curious to see what they're doing with Helldivers, but overall, I think it's a nice list. I plan on downloading. I think what I'm going to do with the Pro, because I'm going to have my base PS4 over here where I can stream and such and do all that stuff from here. But on my Pro, I'm just going to download Pro games that I have. I'm going to leave all my indie titles on this one, so I can stream those and so I can play some of these other games for the streams. But most of these are going to be Pro enhanced games and VR games. So. I'm excited basically for the VR stuff because I want to see. I mean, like I said, I've heard enough about the Uncharted's and The Last of Us, and there was an article that came out this week that somebody said that Days Gone is the best looking game they've ever seen on the Pro. In general, just the best looking game ever running on a Pro. So those games are cool, but like you, I'm just really curious to what we can expect from the VR, and I plan on talking about that on Thursday. I'll definitely play some Thursday morning. That's the first thing I'm going to do is check out the VR, and I'll report back on that.
I'm wondering if maybe this is a calculated move by Sony to not, I don't want to say alienate, but not to, kind of put doubt in the mind of people who just bought a PlayStation VR or are thinking about buying a PlayStation VR. Like, you don't want to have to fork out $500 and then Sony's coming out like, hey, this stuff's so much better on this new console that we're putting out for another $400.
Yeah.
So part of me wonders if this wasn't more of, like, they weren't doing this on purpose, so they don't alienate those people who are early adopters of PlayStation VR. Like, they want them to know, like, look, the PlayStation 4 that you have right now, you're still going to get a great experience with this unit on there. This is really the system we had in mind when we developed VR. So I think they want to keep that message out there. I'm not sure they want to rush out and start touting PlayStation 4 Pro as the proper way to experience PlayStation VR at this point.
Because you and I have both played VR on the base PS4, and it is fine. It is fantastic. It's an awesome experience. It's an immersive experience.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to get a little bit crisper, more crisp image on the Pro, and if I'm going to get a little bit of better frame rate, that's cool. But at the end of the day, I could easily bring my PS4 VR or PSVR right over to this base PS4 and have a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we know that, and the people that have the system know that, but it's a tough message to deliver. To kind of, it's a tightrope to walk between the improvements you're going to see with PlayStation 4 Pro and what you're going to get on the base PS4. And really, that's the tightrope that Sony's going to walk with this machine just in general. They're going to have to to get their messaging really solid on this, to explain the benefit to new people looking at PS4 and to the existing PS4 owners as why they're going to want to upgrade to the Pro. So they're going to
Hmm.
constantly have to keep that messaging in mind as they're selling the system here. And throughout this week, Brent, we saw lots of stuff. People coming out talking about how the Pro patches are going to work on their games. So we saw stuff from Ratchet and Clank. I mean, how good is that game going to look? My gosh. So Ratchet and Clank getting a PS4 Pro update. Not going to be at 60 frames. In fact, Insomniac came out and said we don't want this game at 60 frames. It was designed as a 30
Hmm.
frames game, and the stuff that they're putting into it is going to improve the resolution and make that very beautiful game look even more beautiful. So that's really going to be one to behold. Uh, I'd say that's one you probably want to put in on Thursday as well. See what
Oh,
that
it'll
one
be on. Yep,
see
it'll
what
be
that one
on
looks
there.
like. Infamous Second Son. I don't know if you saw some of the images that were floating around with this one. Once again, it's very difficult to see HDR or to explain the benefits of it without being able to see it in person. But there
Hmm.
were a couple of screenshots or just pictures that got put out regarding Infamous, and you can really see the colors and the detail, especially in the skyline of that game when the HDR is turned on.
Hmm.
So that game looks like it's going to benefit immensely from the HDR part of it at the very least.
Hmm.
Another one I want to bring attention to is Neo, Brent. And the interesting thing about this game is it's going to have a few different options for you, whether you're on a 1080p display or a 4K display. And I'm wondering how many games are going to offer this type of option in the future. So
Hmm.
for people that own regular 1080p displays, there's going to be movie mode on the game, which is stable 1080p resolution with high quality anti-aliasing at 30 frames per second. Option 2 is action mode, which is 1080p resolution at 60 frames a second. So this is kind of what we saw with the Neo beta, where you had two options then. So you could
Right.
choose the more stable frame rate and the higher or the lower resolution, or you could choose the higher resolution with where the frame rate varied a little bit more.
Hmm.
On the 4K side of things, it's a similar equation. You have a stable 2160p or 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, or you can run a stable 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second in the action mode on the 4K display. So that's a very interesting setup there for Neo. And we've heard some of this with Tomb Raider as well, how they're going to kind of play around with different screen options for you. So I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. It's not as in depth as something like the PC where you're moving sliders and
Hmm.
playing around with the screen really in depth. But I think if they can do stuff like this, that makes it easy for console gamers. Like, hey, here's a couple options. Pick the one you want to do. I think that's cool.
Hmm.
I think that's something that people will enjoy with their PlayStation 4 Pro. We saw obviously Gorilla's been talking about Horizon. And boy, you read stuff about the people that seen this game and sounds incredible. Looks like this game's just gonna just be a stunner when it comes out. We saw some stuff with Killing Floor 2. They came out and talked about they're getting pro support. The beta for that is actually open. It's running right now.
Hmm.
It's running this weekend. Maybe I can hop in there and check that out tomorrow. We know Gran Turismo Sport getting PlayStation 4 Pro Support as well as will all the first party Sony games. So I don't know what else, Brennan. Any is there like what's the one game that you're really waiting for the PS4 Pro? The one you really want to see on this machine now that you have it coming on Thursday.
On Thursday, I'm actually curious to see what Dishonored 2 looks like on the Pro.
Hmm.
Also, but like in terms of like games that are already out, Battlefield 1, I want to see how that looks on the Pro. Actually, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare looks pretty good in the campaign. And I
Hmm.
noticed some of the lighting. I was like, man, I bet you that looks good with the HDR on. So I'm curious to see how that looks. Obviously, Ratchet and Clank, Infamous Second Son, I want to see. In terms of games that aren't out yet, obviously, I think that for me, it's going to be Horizon Zero Dawn.
Hmm.
Even though my interest isn't too high up for Days Gone, reading the article that I read this week of the guy that seriously
Yeah.
he just was just blessing this thing, and I'm more interested in checking that game out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right with you. All the stuff you mentioned is the stuff that I'm really interested to see. And the other thing I'm curious about with the PlayStation 4 Pro is when we initially got those leaked documents for
Hmm.
the system some months back before it was officially revealed, they talked in there about all games requiring PlayStation 4 support after a certain date or after a certain submission time. And we haven't heard Sony talk anything about that. And the way they've been kind of putting things out here like this game's got PS4 Pro support, this game, that game. They're kind of naming specific games that have
Hmm.
Pro support rather than just giving us the blanket statement like, hey, everything released after November of 2016 is going to have PlayStation 4 Pro support. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering if this is more of an option for developers than we were originally led to believe with the leaked documents.
Hmm.
Because I haven't found one thing that said one way or another whether this was a mandatory thing or not.
Right.
We talked about how Cerny talked about recently how this is not going to require much effort, if, at least from a development side of things, in order to put pro support into your game. So I
Hmm.
think that's gonna help people adopting it into their titles. But I don't know. Have you heard something one way or another if this is going to be a mandatory thing or Sony in their statement here, they just talked about first party games. Like, look, all first party games will have this, but they didn't mention that all third party games would have it. Have you heard one thing one way or another on this?
No, other than what we heard, well, like you mentioned, for those documents a ways back. But I can't help but wonder if maybe Sony's trying not to push it on people and letting the fact that if Sony is correct that this requires minimal effort
Hmm.
from a developer. I wonder if they're just saying, "Hey, look, we won't force you to do it, but hey, look, it is super easy." And and you always hear about from developers, they're always trying to push out the best game possible, the best looking game. They want their full vision as close as possible when on that disc when they ship. And I wonder, instead of just saying, "Hey, look, you got to do this," they're just saying, "Hey, look, you don't have to, but this is how easy it is."
Hmm.
And kind of let the developers drive to deliver the best game. Let that take care of it. Because I mean, you're gonna want to put out the best looking game possible. You want to have the best game that you can out there. And I think instead of forcing on it, they're just saying, "Hey, look, we won't force it, but it's seriously super easy. Look."
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. Just kind of
It's a
letting the
little bit
machine.
more developer friendly instead of
Yeah.
just putting restrictions down and all that stuff. They probably got a little pushback from that from maybe some of the smaller developers.
Hmm.
So for a big developer like CD Projekt Red or Rockstar, putting 2 or 3 people on for a pro version probably isn't a big deal. But for some of these smaller studios, they're probably like, "Oh, you say
Hmm.
it's a little bit of work, but we have very few people here." So,
Yeah.
1% for a big developer might be, 30-40% of their staff for a smaller developer. So maybe
Yeah.
Sony is just like, "Hey, let's not put some restrictions down, but let's just make it as easy as possible for these developers to kick stuff out."
Yeah. And I think when they did that Days Gone demo, when they were like, "Look, this is the work of one guy." Like, I
Hmm.
think that probably spoke to a lot of people there. Like,
Hmm.
wow, really, this one guy took care of this
Right.
aspect for this game. So even if I'm making a small game, like I feel like that's something I can do. I can take a guy, I can dedicate him to this part of it, and they can get that done. So we'll see how that all plays out. Cause I think they have an indicator too. I think on the packaging that says PlayStation 4 Pro enhanced or something like that.
Oh,
That's
really?
it. I thought I saw something about that. Maybe I'm mistaken on that. But man, some of these games, like if it's a VR title, it's gonna have like all these different banners on it, like PlayStation VR compatible, PlayStation 4 Pro enhanced. It's gonna say all kinds of stuff on there. So who knows? I see you're looking at something there. Any word on there from
Yeah, I'm looking at the Robinson the Journey because I remember the update.
Yeah.
The game had a day one update, and
Uh-huh.
I went and looked at this, the info to see which games had pro, and it was pro support, but it doesn't
Yeah.
mention it on the box.
Okay. So
So,
maybe it doesn't say it on the box then. So
hmm,
if that's the case, that would lead me to believe there's probably a lot more games that it's probably going to be a normal thing for a game to support the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's probably going to be outside the norm if it doesn't support the
right.
PlayStation 4 Pro. Because if it was a very specific or special thing, they would probably put an indicator on the box, I would assume.
Hmm.
So okay, so we'll see how that all plays out. But hey, man, Thursday,
Woo!
Thursday, it's happening. We'll expect the full report on the next podcast. So looking forward to that. I mean, it's an exciting system from what I've read, man. We talked about the terrible reveal event for the system, but it's kind of been fighting its way back since then, and it's got a lot of positive press outside of that event. So I'm really interested in the system. I can't wait to get one of these myself, man. So jealous that you're gonna be able to hop into this on Thursday and get into it on day one. But I'll join you as soon as I can. So
Cool.
PS4 Pro Thursday, November 10th. Um, Available at a retailer near you. So that's the hardware side of things, Brent. Let's get into the software. A game we've talked about a few times on the show already here, but Dishonored 2 is the big release this week. It's coming out Friday, November 11th. Once again, you'll have your PS4 Pro Thursday. So when you get this thing, day one, you'll be PS4 Pro on this one. So that's awesome. So this is of course coming to both retail and PSN on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Dishonored was a very well received title when it came out. It was one that you really enjoyed, Brent. It was one that drew comparisons to BioShock and Deus Ex and some of the really strong first-person narrative games that we've seen over the years. There's obviously a heavy stealth element in this game. You went through the first game, didn't kill anybody non-lethally, got the clean hands trophy, one of your proudest accomplishments, right?
Yes,
so,
sir.
I know you're looking forward to jumping back into Dishonored 2. So talk to me about this game, and now that's coming out on Friday.
I mean, there's not much more to be said other than this game looks awesome. It's more Dishonored. You got 2 characters to play as now. You can either play as Corvo or Emily. There's a clean hands trophy for this one. But Frankie was doing a little digging, and he saw there's another trophy that you can get if you don't use any special powers or magic abilities.
Wow.
So I don't know how possible that's going to be, because I know when I did the clean hands last time, I did a lot of blink to kind of travel to different areas undetected. So I'm assuming blink will fall under the magic abilities. So I don't know how. I want to try to get both these trophies in one go, but that could be very demanding. But I'm definitely going to give it a try.
I mean, this would definitely be a 2 playthrough thing then, right? Because I mean, part of the fun of Dishonored is using your abilities. So it seems like that would detract quite a bit from the experience. Maybe not as much a second time through, though. Like if you've played through the game, you use all your abilities, you've gone through the game one time, maybe you want to challenge yourself and go through without using abilities. I could see that. But for your first playthrough, man, you got to get down and dirty in there. You gotta do some of this cool stuff we've been watching, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm sure the no ability trophy will be an ultra rare at some point. Or for a while, but the clean hands one, that's the first one. That's my first playthrough on Dishonored 1. That's going to be my first playthrough on Dishonored 2. I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm going to go through non-lethal, and I'm just pumped to play this game, dude. I'm ready for Friday to get here.
So does Dishonored 2, does it basically pick up right after Dishonored 1? Is this something where if you didn't play the first game, you're going to be lost with this one, just from what you know about it?
I mean, there's going to obviously be some connection. I think this is quite a few years after the first one.
Okay.
I'm sure there'll be some connective threads between the two, but I don't know if it's going to be you have to play the first one. But gosh, is it if you pre-order this one, you get the definitive edition of the first one, don't you?
I think there was some promo with that. I'm not sure if it was on PSN or if it was retail as well. I
can't remember if it was a retail one, but
in fact, don't you get the game a day early for pre-ordering it?
Yes, you do. Yeah, I do.
Oh, so you're gonna have it on Thursday. With the Pro.
Yes.
So.
Oh man, good call. I completely forgot about that. Nice, nice.
So there's that. Did you end up getting the limited edition on this game?
I did.
You did. Okay.
The one with the mask and the. Well, what's cool is the
one with the mask looks really cool.
Yeah, I had it at Amazon. And I was like, dude, I can't do this. I'm like, I can't do these collector's editions. So I canceled it. And then I went over to Best Buy and see in my account that I had a $20 gift certificate. And I was like, okay, now I can get it. So I went to Best Buy, ordered it there, got the Gamers Club unlocked, and then put the $20 on top of it. And I was like, okay, now this is reasonable. So now I am getting it, but I'm getting it through Best Buy.
There you go. So once again, that didn't last very long.
Not very long, man. That was one of the last Steelbooks I really, really want. I was like, I really want this Steelbook. I want that mask. It's a cool looking collector's edition. Yeah. So, I'm on board for that one.
Yeah, it's a nice looking set. So you can choose from 2 characters in this game, right?
My understanding is
right from the beginning, you just choose who you want to play as.
That's my understanding. Yeah, you can pick. You can go through as Corvo, or you can go through as Emily, or maybe it's interwoven. Maybe it goes back and forth. I'm not sure.
So who you going with, man? Who's your character?
I like the way Emily looks. I like her abilities. They look pretty awesome. But I went through clean hands with Corvo. I think I'm gonna go Corvo again. Clean hands. Go old school. Go with old man Corvo. But I don't know. When I get to the menu screen and it starts talking about what Emily can do, I might have to go with the young blood.
I mean, we've seen some Emily trailers. She looks like she's got some really cool abilities.
Filthy abilities. Yeah,
like the shadow crawl. She's the one with that domino ability, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's just sick. You can just kill one guy and everybody else attached to him dies right in the same way. So that's
See, now, if I can use that ability, but not like kill the guy to kill him, like if I can knock one guy out and everyone else gets knocked out, then I might actually lean towards. I'm like, I have to learn to see, all of her moves set before I can commit to the clean hands. I got to know for sure what she can do.
Yeah. So, man, what were your thoughts on the story in Dishonored? Were you a fan of it?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Okay. So
yeah, I thought it was actually, like I said, it was just an all-around great game. Great gameplay, good story, beautiful looking graphics. Awesome presentation. Like the artistic style was really cool. Like you said, a lot of comparisons with BioShock. And you've got some Deus Ex stealth abilities and RPG elements to it. So no, it was just an all-around fantastic game. I'm really, I can't tell you how excited I am for this game. This is like easily probably my most anticipated title this year.
Yeah, looks great in everything we've seen recently. So I'm really curious to see how it plays out, how what everybody thinks of it this upcoming week. Curious to hear your thoughts on it, especially how it looks on the Pro, man. Excited to hear about that too. So Dishonored 2 available this Friday, November 11th. It'll be out a day early if you pre-ordered it. Is that everywhere or is that just on Amazon?
I think it's everywhere.
Okay. So possibly everywhere. You'll be able to get the game a day early. So we'll talk about that one on the next show. Also this week. Now this has been just a disaster for Robinson the Journey.
Yeah.
I don't know if this game's out or not. Some places it's out, some places it's not. This game was supposed to be out November 8th, which is Tuesday. It's got a different street date in some other places, I guess. The developer is still talking about the game coming out on the 8th. The game's in stores. It's sitting right next to you right now as we're recording this show on Saturday. So you've got the game. It came out early at some GameStops. Some Best Buys have it early. I'm sure Walmart probably had it a few days before that because they like to just throw stuff out there whenever. So the actual release date of Robinson is a mystery at this point. So I'm just going to go with it's going to be available everywhere this Tuesday. But more often or more probably, you can probably go get it right now. So.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Robinson the Journey. I seen somebody tweet out that said Best Buy had broken the street date. And I was like, well, hold on now. Let's hang on a sec, because if I can get this thing early, I want to get it early. So I went to Amazon where my pre-order was originally, and I seen it said, shipping November 8th. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not getting, it's November 8th, I have a pre-order, so I'll go to Best Buy and check. So I went to bestbuy.com, and I looked up the game, and I seen that if I tried to pick it up in store, it said it wouldn't be available until the 8th. And I was like, oh. And so I was like, well, let's see what happens if I try to have it shipped. And it said, you'll have it Saturday. And I'm like, what? So I couldn't get it in the store until next week. But if I ordered it through shipping, it said, you can get it Saturday. So I was like, well, I'll try it out. And, if at worst they'll cancel, they'll say, hey, look, there's a mistake. You're not going to get it. Nope. As soon as I ordered it, like a couple hours later, the next morning, I got my email. Your item is shipped. I'm like, okay, maybe it's shipped and it won't be here until Tuesday. They'll keep it at the post office. Nope. Got my notification today. It's been delivered. So here it is. I've got Robinson the Journey. So depending on where you ordered it, some GameStops have it in store, some don't. Bender went to both GameStop and Best Buy, and they didn't have any of his. So it's a crapshoot right now. But I know right now, if you order on Best Buy online, you would have gotten it prior to Tuesday.
That's so weird.
Very weird.
And like I said, the developer, they still, the last thing I saw from them, they're talking about doing a release day stream on Tuesday. But release day for Robinson was a few days ago for a lot of people. So right. It's very weird how the release date for this game worked out. But Robinson is a game we've talked about for PlayStation VR, a very, very interesting title. It's a Crytek title. What I'm wondering about at this point is this game's leaked. It's been in the streets. It's coming out soon, but I really haven't heard anybody talk about this game.
Nothing.
Yeah, I haven't heard a damn thing about this title. So
Nothing.
I don't. Other than that, it's going to be 3 to 5 hours in length.
Yeah,
that's
and I wonder if that's just because people weren't sure what was the quickest way to get their hands on this thing early. I mean, like I said, it was a crapshoot. You could either get it this way earlier, or maybe you couldn't get it this way. You could go into the store, but you couldn't go into the store. I mean. Maybe that's just why we haven't heard a lot about it. Maybe a lot of people haven't fired it up. But I'm sure over the next day or two, some of these sites will start, coming out with impressions or maybe even a review. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, maybe I'm just not looking in the right places. But you'd have thought that a lot of times when these games, when the street date gets broken or they start getting out on the wild, at least some of the bigger sites we'll have guys go out to the store, pick up a copy of the game, and try to get some initial impressions out there on it. So I haven't even seen that. So
my goal is to try to get a video up on our YouTube channel for if you're listening to the podcast on Sunday. Hopefully it's already up. If not, definitely Monday morning.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, I'm interested to see it. Do we know what kind of game this is yet? Is this a adventure game? Like, what is this? What is Robinson the Journey?
My understanding is it's only about I think they said, was it 3 to 5 hours?
Yeah, 3 to 5 hours, yeah.
3 to 5 hours. Not really sure what kind of experience they're going for here. I'm not sure if this is an adventure game or if it's an exploration game or if it's just a walking simulator. I have no idea. But, just based on what we saw from the trailer, I remember that first trailer. That's when I was just like, oh, God, I gotta have this
the one
game.
with the dinosaurs.
Yeah, because that looks sweet. I was like, man, this looks badass. I definitely want to play this game. But whether or not that translates over to what we experience when we play it, I'm not sure. But I hope it's an adventure game. I hope there's some excitement. I hope I can walk with the dinosaurs and look up and see them all around me, because that'll blow my mind.
This is a game that many of us were pointing to as one of the PlayStation VR games that we had to get our hands on. Yes. So I'm really curious to watch your video and to get your thoughts on this, man. So that's Robinson the Journey. May or may not be out for you right now. It'll be out for everybody at least by Tuesday. So sometime over the next few days, Robinson the Journey will be out for everybody. Another VR title that's very interesting coming out this week is Eagle Flight. It's a game we've talked about on the podcast before. I've talked about just being able to fly. Like, that's got to be a really cool feeling. Like, I can imagine just like sprawling out on the chair over here, just pretending like I'm flying. If somebody were to come downstairs and look at me, they'd probably think it was an ass. But just that feeling of flying. Like, if this game can convey that even a little bit as an eagle, like that's an experience I want to check out. So that'll be out this week. Brent, what are you thinking about Eagle Flight, man? Is this one that interests you at all?
Of course it interests me, but you and I talked about this earlier this week. This is a $40 title.
Yeah.
The only way this is going to happen is if Sony sends me that $15 credit I'm supposed to get for dropping 100 last month. Even then, I don't know if I can swing this right now. Like I said, I've got Robinson the Journey. I've got Dishonored this week. I got to stop buying games if I'm not going to play them right away. And Eagle Flight is going to be the first one that's going to get hit with this new policy.
Well, we'll see how long this policy gets enacted.
We already trashed the no new TV policy pretty quick. So
yeah, the Steelbook Collector's Edition policy has been fluctuating for the past few months.
It's dying out though. It's starting to firmly get get a foothold here. So we're doing okay now.
Yeah, so we'll see how this policy applies to Eagle Flight here. We'll see how that all pans out. But that's going to be available Tuesday. Trackmania Turbo also getting a VR patch this week, so look out for that if you're interested in that title. Also coming to PSN, we've got Small Radios, Big Televisions. Once again, not quite sure what this game is or how it works. Some type of an adventure game, though. That'll be out Tuesday. Xenoraid, very cool looking space shooter. This looks like something right up my alley. That'll be out this week. My Name is Mayo, a cross-buy title with a Vita. Literally looks like the stupidest game I've ever seen. It's a clicking game where you click on a jar of mayonnaise and stuff happens. Like this, seriously, this looks dumb as hell. So if I'm mistaken on this game, if you purchase My Name is Mayo and it's a great experience, let us know. Podcast@shortpause.com. But seriously, dude, watch the trailer for this that I have linked in this outline that we're running down here, and it's literally the dumbest looking thing I've ever seen. Also coming to PS4 this week, Sword Art Online: Hollow Realization, the latest in the Japanese role-playing series based on the anime. Cartoon Network Battle Crashers, pretty cool looking side-scrolling brawler game. This looks like something I would get down on as well. I mean, I'm always down to grab a regular show guys or Adventure Time, go through and beat some baddies. That sounds like a good time. That'll be out this week. Root Letter we talked about last week didn't come out. Should be out this week on Thursday alongside the PS4 Pro. Root Letter is a visual novel. Very, very cool looking visual novel. That's coming to the Vita as well. Handball 17. No idea this was a professional sport. Thought this was just something we did in gym class. But Handball 17. Apparently this is a professional sport and it's getting a PSN title. Marvel Pinball Epic Collection Volume 1 is a retail disc. I love the Marvel tables, by the way. They're a lot of fun. But these are the ones that are included in this package. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Blade, Marvel's The Avengers, World War Hulk, Civil War, Ant-Man, Venom, and Fear itself. So a nice little collection of 10 tables there. If you don't have any of those, pick up that disc this week. Also, Yesterday Origins, also coming this week to PSN on retail as well. Thursday, November 10th, the release date on this one. Another interesting looking adventure game. On the PS3 side of things, Handball 17 will be on there. And on the Vita, Sword Art Online, Hollow Realization, a pretty big, pretty cool looking Japanese role playing game that's going to be available on the Vita. That might be a good one on there. My Name is Mayo, once again on the Vita, and Root Letter coming to the Vita this week. So that's your PlayStation releases, Brent. On the Xbox side of things, Dishonored 2 will, of course, be on there on Friday as well, via Xbox Live or retail. Xenoraid's coming to Xbox Live as well, alongside Cartoon Network Battle Crashers. Marvel Epic Pinball Collection Volume 1 will be on there as well, and Handball 17 will be a Friday release on the Xbox One. Now on the Nintendo side of things, we've got some more hardware to talk about, man.
Oh boy.
But that little NES Mini, or NES Classic Edition, I think that's the official name for it now.
Uh-huh.
That's coming out on Friday. So you got the PS4 Pro on Thursday, you got the NES Mini on Friday. So $60 once again, get you this little handheld device shaped like the original Nintendo, and it houses 30 classic games on it. Plugs into your HDMI or plugs into your HD TV via HDMI, and then you can play all these classic mini games. The catch, the cord is 2.5 feet long. 2.5 feet. 2.5 feet. So we're talking about plugging this into the 50, 60-inch TVs with a 2.5 foot controller cord. The system is already underneath your TV. 2.5 feet is going to put you right at the base of the television. This is insanity to me. Why would you make a controller with 2.5 feet of cable?
You want to know why? You want to know why?
Why?
Nintendo.
I mean, man. And we've seen some reviews come out for the system, and people said the emulation's great. The best NES emulation we've ever had. You've got 3 different filters you can try on this, and by all accounts, the games look sharp, like they look as good as they can possibly look on your HD display. Best emulation we've ever gotten. So what does Nintendo do? They give us 2.5 foot controller cords and a reset button that's on the system itself. Is the only way we can get back to the home screen. So why you wouldn't make a wireless controller? Why you wouldn't just make a controller with longer cords? Why you wouldn't put some type of a home button on the controller itself? I don't know. Why you wouldn't make this so you can download virtual console games to it? I don't know. These are the things that we wonder about this device. I did look this up. Nyko is making accessories for this thing, and they jumped all over this. Like, well, this is going to be a disaster. So, hey, here's some extension cables for the controllers you can buy. So you can either go there, or they have wireless controllers as well that they've made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so why Nintendo couldn't do this, who knows? But Nyko has wireless controllers that you can purchase for the system, or extension cables you can buy for your controllers. So basically, you have to buy it with the system now. Like, you don't have a choice. Unless you're going to sit at the base of your system, or you're going to run cables all over your living room. Like, you need to buy these accessories for it. So Nyko's sitting pretty on this. They're going to make a lot of money off these accessories. It sucks because this takes the system from being $60 to now being, I don't know how much the wireless controllers are, but the extension cables are like $10 a piece. So if you want to get a couple controllers on that, you're looking at an extra $20 right there for the system. The wireless controllers, I'm guessing, are going to be more money. So we'll see how that all pans out. But now you're spending upwards of $90, $100 for this thing instead of $60, so you can use it properly.
How does the wireless work? Do you plug a dongle into the?
Yeah, there's like a dongle that you plug into it, from what I saw, and then it just transmits the signal over to the wireless controller. So we'll see how that all pans out. But Brent, I don't know if you've been following the reviews or reading about it. What are your thoughts on the NES Classic Edition, man?
For my setup, it works well, even with the 2.5 foot controller or the cable. So where I'll be sitting, I'm excited to pick it up. I just hope I don't have a line. I gotta believe. I hope this isn't gonna be like one of these items that burns out real quick. Like they won't have enough. So I'm gonna have to hustle over there Friday morning and grab mine, because I definitely gotta get one of these.
Yeah. The whole reason I'm not getting one of these to put it with like my main setup here. I'm never gonna play this thing. I'll play it once. It'll be a nostalgia thing. Cool. Then I'll move on with my life. But This is something that I wanted to put upstairs in the living room. Like, my wife loves old Nintendo games. My kids could see kind of where all this stuff came from. But now you just totally just ruined it by putting these 2.5 foot controller cords on the controller. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, dude. Like, we're not sitting at a computer desk playing this game, except you. You're the only one. You're the only one sitting at a computer desk playing the NES Classic Edition. So I just don't get it, man. I really don't.
It's really dumb.
Yeah. So the other funny thing they're doing, they're opening up the old Nintendo Power Hotline this the weekend after the NES Classic Edition comes out. So if you're really like reveling in your nostalgia, like you can call into the line and I don't know if they give you tips or whatever.
Oh wow.
Let me it says in honor of the NES Classic, Nintendo is going full on nostalgia, pulling out the big guns in hopes of blasting your brain with thoughts of the 80s and 90s. Get ready for the return of the Power Line. While playing one of the 30 great NES games included on the NES Classic Edition during the weekend following the Friday launch, you might find yourself puzzled by some of the more challenging games. How do I find the first warp whistle in Super Mario 3, you might ask yourself. If your memories of the original games fail you, no need to fret. You can just call the Power Line, which will return and run from November 11th to November 13th between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Pacific time each day.
That's
The
hilarious.
original Power Line was a beloved service in the 80s that connected fans to Nintendo gameplay counselors who offered helpful tips and tricks. In this fully automated version, you can use your real life phone, bonus points if it has a cord, to dial 425-885-7529 to hear recorded tips for several games, plus behind the scenes stories from original Nintendo gameplay counselors. You never know what you might learn. Or you could just pick up your phone and go on the internet. That's probably quicker. But but if you wanna revel in the nostalgia of the Power Line, you will have that option
See, it's
this
so
coming weekend.
it's like Nintendo. Like they release this awesome system. It's got this terrible 2.5 foot cord, but then they do something unique and cool like this. Like they turn on the power line. And like that's a legitimately unique, awesome idea. Just for
Yeah.
the weekend, just to kind of get back into it. But then they got this one thing, this blemish, with its 2.5 foot cord. Just leave it to Nintendo. They do one awesome thing, then there's just something like why?
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's it's mind boggling, they just work in mysterious ways. So that's the NES Classic Edition, Brent. Once again, Friday, November 11th, system will be out, $60, and from what I understand, nobody took any pre-orders on this outside of maybe there was a glitch or something with Toys R Us or Target. I think one day when they ended up
Huh.
taking pre-orders, but outside of that, I don't think anybody's taking pre-orders for this thing. So, and like you said, we don't know how many of these things are going to be out there, how much in demand this is going to be. Do people even know this is coming out? I
Mhm.
personally haven't heard anybody talking about it. Like some of the more casual people that I work with, or that seems like that would have been a topic of conversation. I haven't heard it come up at all. So
Mhm.
I don't know how many people know that this thing's coming out. I haven't seen any commercials for it, so I don't really know what the marketing's been like on this. So we'll find out though on Friday how much in demand this thing is.
Hmm.
So that's the NES Mini. As far as what's coming to Nintendo platforms this week, well, what we missed last week for the Wii U was a pair of virtual console titles: Mario Hoops 3-on-3, which is an old DS game. It's on there now for $9.99, and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, the Wii game, has a 1999 Wii Virtual Console version of it for the Wii U now. Coming this week to the Wii U is Dungeon Hearts DX, a role-playing game. It'll be on there on Thursday, November 10th. It'll be $10. 3DS, what we missed last week was Unlucky Mage, another role-playing game on the eShop now for $10. This week coming to 3DS, they're going to get a version of Cartoon Network Battle Crashers. Harvest Moon, Skytree Village coming over to the platform. Alongside, dude, this is the ultimate slap in the face to 3DS owners. But Shoot the Ball and Cup Critters, a couple of $1.49 eShop titles that look like they were created on the Atari 2600, are coming over to the 3DS, to the new 3DS only. You cannot play these on the original 3DS. Tell me why.
Demanding.
Explain this to me right now.
There's a
Why
lot of
can't
stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on underneath the hood that you don't know about. Okay, to get this game to work properly.
all the processing power to shoot that ball, to get that ball through the shape? I mean, it's incredible, man. So I'll never understand that. But hey, if you have a new Nintendo 3DS, Shoot the Ball or Cup Critters can be yours for $3 combined. How can you
Huh?
pass up on that?
You can't.
And that's it, Brent. That brings us to
All
the end
right.
of our new release list.
Cool. Lots of good stuff this week, software and hardware. Can't wait to get my hands on that Pro and some Dishonored too,
It's an
baby.
exciting week, man. This is extremely busy November. One of the busiest Novembers I can think of for game releases.
Very, very busy indeed. Well, hey, let's jump into the news. First up, BlizzCon 2016 is underway. Everything Blizzard at BlizzCon. We had a lot of Overwatch news. We actually had some Diablo 3 news and Diablo 1 news. So let's jump into it first. Overwatch, finally. We know who Sombra is. We found out, we finally got a reveal for Sombra in Overwatch. We got an origin video, about a 6-minute video. It's actually pretty entertaining. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but for the most part of it, it was pretty entertaining. She seems like a pretty cool character. She's dual-wielding, like, automatic pistols. She has the ability to hack enemies, which kind of disables them, it looked like.
Yeah, she can disable Torbjorn's turrets, right?
It looked like
by hacking into them?
Yeah, it looked like she could hack into a lot of stuff. She hacked into a character. She has the ability to throw like a grenade that's like a teleportation grenade. Wherever it lands, she can teleport to real quick. So very fast moving. A lot of damage up close with those automatic pistols. Pretty cool looking character. Like Overwatch is one of those games where I wish I could go back and play more of it. It's just there's so many games that have come out, but Overwatch is overall from when I played it was a fantastic game. Really awesome, competitive, like team-based shooter, and I really enjoyed my time with it. And I know there's been quite a few characters that have come out since I've last played, but Sombra appears to be a pretty cool character, man. What'd you think of her in the video?
Yeah, she looks awesome. She got a really cool design, like you said. Her powers look like they're really neat. I was reading some stuff about how she plays, and yeah, she sounds like she's going to be a pretty powerful character in the right hands in that game. And Overwatch is another one of those games that slipped through the cracks for me this year. It's a game I wanted to play, man. I would love to get in there with the team and try and learn this game, but just haven't had a chance to.
Yeah. Well, speaking of teams, Blizzard is building a professional sports league for Overwatch, and this sounds big. This is a big thing.
Yeah, this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, so basically, Blizzard is looking to create, the NFL or NBA of Overwatch esports. Teams will be based around major cities, fostering regional fan and player bases.
That's pretty wild.
So, the major cities. I mean, this is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Mike Morhaime, the CEO and founder of Blizzard, had this to say. He said, the Overwatch League represents not only the pinnacle of Overwatch competition, but also a genuine career opportunity for the most skilled Overwatch players. We're building a league that's accessible to players and fans, sustainable, and exciting for everyone involved. I mean, this sounds big. This is like XFL type of thing. We're going to try something new on a big scale.
Yeah.
And the inaugural Overwatch League season kicks off next year with a combine. Players who have distinguished themselves through play will be invited to join teams where they'll be paid and insured and all the fun things folks that get to play professional sports gets. You're going to get paid and you're going to get insurance.
That's wild, dude.
That's awesome. But I mean, that just speaks volumes about the quality of Overwatch as a game. I mean, it's so they did such a great job balancing all these characters and all their abilities to where, not one character is OP, but if you get them together with the right group of people who know how to do their jobs, you can form a formidable force, a formidable team that can do very, very well. And, I don't know if you've ever sat down to watch streams of this. These games are intense and they're exciting. Mm-hmm. Esports are taking off, and Overwatch is definitely a fantastic esports title. And I think this is bold. I think this is very cool, and I think this could take esports to a whole new level if they can make this work.
Yeah, I know sometimes esports gets a bad rap, and we bag on it here on the show. But all esports is competitive video games. That's it. That's all it is. And in this Twitch age and this YouTube age that we live in, people are starting to like to watch this stuff, and we've seen this stuff show up on ESPN. I saw it on TBS or something the other day before Conan came on. There was an esports show on TBS. So it's like this stuff's getting big, and this is proof proof of it right here. I mean, in Overwatch, like professional league that's run like the NFL or the NBA, that's pretty crazy, man.
I mean, you will fill. I mean, if you ever see these things on like ESPN, I mean, they fill this place with people. People will pay to see this stuff. It is entertaining.
Yeah.
Esports is entertaining, regardless. I mean, I understand there's people that don't like esports, and that's cool. I think it's entertaining. I'm a competitive person. I love sports in general. I play when I play video games, whether I'm playing in single player or whether I'm playing a multiplayer cooperative. You're competing. You're either competing against the AI or you're competing against each other. And, you know, to sit there, I understand sometimes the announcers can be annoying.
Yeah.
And I think that's something they need to balance out is make sure they get announcers who aren't over the top. I mean, do you remember when the XFL came out? The announcers were terrible. You had Jesse Ventura and other people calling the game, and it was completely over the top. If they can just keep the announcers very much in line with how they do on Fox or CBS, sans Matt Millen. Let's not do Matt Millen style. But
the obligatory Matt Millen dig. I like it.
I gotta get it in once a year.
I like it, man.
But you know, if they can get like a nice presentation that's not completely all about the announcers and more focus on the gameplay, if they can get, you know, if they can do that, I think this could be really, really cool. I would tune in for this stuff. I would go to B-dubs with friends to watch the Overwatch Super Bowl. I think that'd be fun as hell.
Yeah, Overwatch is a fun game to watch. You know, like you said, there's a lot of skill, there's a lot of teamwork that goes into it. It's a fun game to watch people play that know how to play it. So I can see this being a big hit with the streaming and esports community.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and to add to it, Overwatch is getting a new arcade mode. Overwatch's director, Jeff Kaplan, he said, for quick play to stay good and healthy, we want to add a single hero limit to that. You know, and he got an applause. You know, the new arcade mode will accommodate to the sort of fun, casual play that players have enjoyed in quick play. And there's multiple modes that they're adding in here. First, you're going to have Mystery Duel, which is a 1v1 best-of-5 duel where a hero is randomly selected for you and your opponent, the same hero for both. Overwatch's new Eco Point Antarctica map, which is smaller than the other maps, and it's May's home base, will make it easier for heroes to face off one-on-one. I think that's a pretty cool mode.
Yeah, that's interesting. Kind of a roulette. Just picks a random character for it, and then it's just mano-y-mano.
And I think, if anything, that's going to get you to like try out other characters and learn their abilities and learn their, you know, what they're good at, their strengths and weaknesses. I think that's a cool way to get familiar with characters maybe you haven't played a lot as.
So if I understand this correctly, quick play in the past, it had you could pick as many of a character as you wanted, but now they're going to limit you to one of that hero per team. So that's necessitated the creation of this arcade mode. Cool.
Another mode, Elimination, a 3v3 best-of-5 brawl where when your hero dies, they are dead with a single hero limit. Make sure you have a mercy. So that's pretty cool. So when you die, you're out.
Yeah.
So no respawn, basically.
Yeah.
And then you have No Limits, where you can have the 6 Genji battle you've always wanted. So it's basically quick play as it is now, but you can basically have, you know, as many of the same characters as you want. Nice. And then lastly, there's All Brawls. Super Shemitah Bros, We're All Soldiers Now, and other old and new brawls will be available here as a playlist. So that's a new mode that's going to be added in. So you can have all sorts of different options for quick play, you know, to kind of cater to you know, whatever you're feeling. But I think that Mystery Duel sounds like the coolest one. That can be the most exciting.
Yeah, it sounds
you never
pretty
know
intense.
what you're going to get. Yeah, and you're on a small map, so the encounters will be quick. You don't have to worry about people camping. So another thing that they're going to do for Overwatch, and it's one of the most talked about features of the game, is the play of the game is going to get an overhaul. The play of the game is usually at the end of the game, and you can see like the one highlight from the game that stood out. But sometimes, you know, the Overwatch's developers feel this goes against the grain of Overwatch's team focus. You know, and they say that happens a lot. You know, and this is what Jeff Goodman had to say. We are tweaking it regularly, but not massively revamping it. There's a plan to do what we're calling Play of the Game 2.0. It's been on the books for a little while. It's just a matter of prioritizing everything. We have a lot of really cool ideas. We want to do a lot with the camera work. We have ideas for cooperative play of the games because what we have right now is Zara could ultimate, and then Genji gets the credit, and that's like, come on. So we want to highlight the combo play itself to show both. There's some tricky things there, like how do we handle the play of the game intros and how do we decide who gets credit? So they're still working on. They're trying to perfect it, but they want to focus more on the team element, because if somebody goes ultimate, gets fired, and it benefits the person that goes off and does whatever they do, they want to be able to show both people getting the credit.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a game that's based around teamwork, I mean,
absolutely, and that's why I was, and it makes sense because how many times I've seen a couple times when I'd see the player of the game, it'd be somebody that go on a kill streak and they kill a bunch of people in the room, but ultimately it wasn't a big game changer. It wasn't a big moment in everyone's minds when they were playing the game. They're like, oh man, there was another spot that was way better where so and so did this and it allowed us to do that, and so it's pretty cool how it's pretty cool that they're looking at how to overhaul that to kind of focus more on the team element of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of stuff going on with Overwatch, but then Diablo 3 came into the mix. And we've got a lot of stuff happening with Diablo 3. First off, the Necromancer returns to Diablo 3. Now, the Necromancer was from Diablo 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's returning to Diablo 3 and Rise of the Necromancer, a new pack that will come out next year. There's no word on the price, but the pack will include the Necromancer as well as 2 character slots and some other cosmetic boosts. It sounds like Taz can dust off Diablo 3. He's going to have more to play.
Yeah.
In addition to unlocking the Necromancer as a playable character, players will also receive an in-game pet, 2 additional character slots, 2 additional stash tabs. This is on PC. A portrait frame, pennant, banner, and banner sigil. And then, it doesn't stop there with this. Blizzard is remaking the original Diablo inside of Diablo 3.
This is pretty sweet.
This is awesome. Blizzard will release a remake of Diablo inside of Diablo 3 as part of an upcoming 20th anniversary patch. It'll include a 16-level dungeon and the 4 main bosses from the first Diablo. The patch, titled The Darkening of Tristram, will be free to Reaper of Soul owners on both PC and console. And this is
awesome.
this is great. And this is per the Blizzard press release. Celebrate 20 years of Diablo by traveling back into the depths of the cathedral where it all began in this upcoming Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls content update. Get ready to explore a monster-filled dungeon 16 levels deep and come face-to-face with the 4 main bosses from the original game, all with retro touches like special graphics filters and 8-direction character movement.
Sweet.
So, what's impressive? I mean, when did Diablo 3 come out?
It's been like 4 years now, I think.
This sounds substantial.
Yeah, I think it came out in 2012 because the Reaper of Souls update came out a couple years after that.
Yep, and that's when it came to next-gen consoles, PS4 and Xbox One. So the fact that we're 2 years down the line, and we're getting 3 years down the line, and we're getting this big, substantial update where you're getting a Diablo 3 expansion, Rise of the Necromancer, and then you're also going to get Diablo 1 as well. I mean, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, does this mean Diablo 3 is going to be getting more updates down the line? I mean, is this going to be a consistent thing, or is this just like a one-time thing for for the anniversary? But then the Necromancer thing, that sounds like that's like a whole new expansion. I mean, is this something they're going to look at down the line?
I think it's definitely a possibility. I mean, from what I understand, I didn't play Diablo 2, but the Necromancer was a popular class in that game, so they're bringing that over to Diablo 3. The reveal trailer for it was pretty cool. I think that looks like a really cool character. Obviously, he controls like an army of the dead that's with him. I think he has some other cool looking abilities as well. But I think there's a possibility that with them doing something like this Diablo 1 inside of Diablo 3, like Diablo 3 could be more of like a platform for them moving forward. Like they can do stuff through Diablo 3. They don't necessarily need to make a Diablo 4 right away. They can keep kind of iterating on the Diablo 3 as it is right now. But it's such a popular franchise for them that Diablo is going to be a part of Blizzard, for for however long Blizzard is around. Like Diablo is going to be a thing because it's seemingly like everything they create. It's just a huge title for them. It's got a huge fan base. People love Diablo. And, I was reading about the original Diablo because I don't have any experience with it, but it sounds like basically that whole game was a 16-level dungeon with the 4 bosses. Like, that was the game. There was a town outside of that you could visit before you went down into the dungeon, but it's basically the entire game is going to be inside of Diablo 3, and it's coming as a free patch, and all of this stuff's coming to consoles as well. So that's awesome. And
And
the fact that Diablo 1 being a free patch for the 20th anniversary of the game is really cool. Why aren't we playing this game? Why?
that's a great question. I mean, I know Taz is chomping at it. I think Taz is beating through like all the difficulties. I think
Has he?
Taz has got he probably has the platinum. I don't even know.
Has he
But
been through all the difficulties? Wow.
I'm pretty sure he said he's gotten pretty far into that game in terms of its
I believe it.
difficulty
I
levels.
believe it.
But now here's my question, dude. This is just a quick question to ponder. But you know, if they're going out their way to add new expansions and add Diablo, I mean, we gonna get a pro update for this game? I mean, that's got to be in the cards.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be a possibility. I mean, for Overwatch as well. I mean, these are games that
Yeah.
they're going to continue to iterate on, that they're going to continue to bring stuff out to their fan bases. I mean, these games aren't going away anytime soon. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, especially with their pedigree as a PC developer.
Hmm.
Dealing with upgraded specs and that kind of stuff, something they do all the time. So I don't think it would be it's definitely within the realm of possibility that PS4 Pro patches will be coming for these games at some point in the future. Maybe even around the time that the game gets updated, maybe there's a Pro patch waiting for you as well, or they just slide that in with the 20th anniversary patch on the PS4. Maybe there's a Pro update in there. Who knows?
You might have to revisit Diablo 3, man.
Yeah, it's fun game, man. It's
It is great.
definitely something I want to get back to. There's so much content now too. I mean, I
Yeah.
believe they're bringing seasons over to the consoles now as well, which is something
Wow.
they've been doing on PCs for a while. So that's gonna give console owners something else to do. But they're definitely, with the popularity of consoles right now, they're dipping their toe a lot more into consoles than they ever would have in the past. Diablo 3 is almost at parity with the PC version, in terms of its console version. So it's awesome, man. I mean, Diablo 3 is a game that I definitely wish I would have played more of when it came out. So maybe we need to remedy that.
I think Diablo 3 was one of our first video reviews.
I think
Taz
so.
did
Yeah.
it was shortly after the Destiny video review, but Taz did a video review for Diablo 3. You can head over to the Short Pause Gaming channel on YouTube, check out Taz's review. He loved the game. I mean, simple as that. He loved the game.
Yeah.
And he played it extensively after his review. And like I said, I know he has gotten through many difficulty levels, so
Yeah.
good on Taz. So we might have to download Diablo 3 and jump back into it with him.
Yeah, one of these days, man, we got to do that.
But hey, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. We got some music here from Rual Ethan, and we've got a lot more stuff to discuss. We've got Mass Effect. We've got some Nintendo news. We've also got some Destiny 2 stuff, some Destiny 2 hints. So we'll talk about that right after this break. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Thanks again to Ruel Ethan for providing the music for this podcast. He does the opening, the intermission, and he does the closing music. We really appreciate your music. Thank you very much. Follow him on Twitter at Ruel Ethan. Check out his music on SoundCloud. Talented kid. Boys, let's keep the train going, man. We had a little bit of Mass Effect news, a little teaser in preparation of N7 Day coming up here tomorrow.
Yeah, so earlier this week, this Mass Effect teaser comes out, and it's imploring you to join the Andromeda Initiative. So there's a website you can sign up for. So I promptly went and did this, signed up for the Andromeda. Did you do this as well?
I did not.
Okay. So they have a website you can go through. Just type in Andromeda Initiative on Google. It'll take you over there. You can sign up for it. It's basically just a proxy just to keep you up to date on Mass Effect Andromeda stuff. You'll get emails from EA and all that kind of stuff. I'm wondering if there's some type of a beta or something in the future, like if they'll refer to this list. So I'm on there for that just in case. Yeah, so they put out this little teaser, and it's got Clancy Brown on the narration, which is awesome. Dr. Neo Cortex himself, my favorite Lex Luthor from Superman the Animated Series. Love Clancy Brown, love his voice. He's in a ton of movies too, by the way. But Clancy Brown on the narration. We see this kind of, almost like this ad to join the Andromeda Initiative is basically what it is. But we get a few hints to things too regarding the game. And one of the biggest hints we get is this idea that it's hinting at the time period that this game's set in. So we don't know much about Andromeda at this point. We know it's a Mass Effect game, and it's not going to star Shepard, but it still takes place in the Mass Effect universe. And there's a particular part in the voiceover. The trailer's voiceover, while describing the journey that is about to be embarked upon, notes that the next adventure will be in a future that begins 600 years from where we stand. As Eurogamer notes, that line could suggest the time difference between Andromeda and the original Mass Effect trilogy. So, it's also, this also asks fans to, in addition to join the Andromeda Initiative, take a last glimpse at Earth as a course is chartered for a future beyond the Milky Way. So, a couple interesting tidbits from the teaser there. Brent, the main thing though, the main thing that I'm getting from this is that N7 Day is coming up, and I think we're gonna see some big stuff for this game. Like this teaser, this teaser also points towards N7 Day, which is November 7th, as we mentioned. It's Mass Effect Day. Obviously, N7, the big group in the game, so they've staked their claim on November 7th as Mass Effect Day. And with the fact that we've got this teaser out now, we've got this Andromeda Initiative out, we've seen several people from BioWare on Twitter talking up N7 Day. We've also seen that Mass Effect is the cover story for Game Informer for next month. So that tells me they're about to blow the lid off this thing. And if I had to guess, I'd guess that on Monday, on N7 Day, we are going to see a proper reveal for this game. I've heard that there's going to be some type of a trailer here, possibly. I forgot where I read that. But I think we're looking at a big-time reveal and the big-time pulling off the covers of Mass Effect Andromeda, especially with it being in Game Informer. So they're gonna go in-depth in there like they always do with their cover stories. It's going to be 12, 13, 14 pages of information on Mass Effect Andromeda. So I could see EA and BioWare getting out in front of that, giving us a proper reveal, and then letting Game Informer kind of get out all the nitty-gritty details after that. What do you think, man? What do you think about the Andromeda Initiative? You excited for N7 Day? What do you think about all this that's going on?
I just hope this is what you're hoping for. I hope this is the proper reveal trailer that we all deserve, except for not like the previous trailers that we've gotten that have just been lukewarm and just they just didn't give us anything. They were just basically just wastes of time, in my opinion. I'm excited to finally see what this game's about. Like you said, the Game Informer magazine, the December issue is going to be fantastic. Like you said, they go in real depth to this game. They'll talk a lot about what to expect from this game. I'm excited for N7 Day. I just want a proper reveal, man. Something that builds up some excitement. A good trailer, a good teaser. Obviously not a teaser trailer, but a good reveal trailer. Maybe a little bit of gameplay mixed in.
Oh yeah. At this point, we have to see some gameplay. Like we've seen a little bit. We saw a little bit at the Pro reveal event. We've seen a little bit sprinkled in some of these EA wireframe conferences over the years. So yeah, but it's time for us to get into the nitty-gritty of Mass Effect, as far as I understand, too, this game is still slotted in this fiscal year for EA.
Wow.
It's possible that that's no longer the case anymore, but I believe it's still slotted in this fiscal year, so I would still anticipate this coming out probably in late March. Would probably be where they'd want to slot this game. So it's about time that we start hearing about this and we start getting the hype train rolling for this. Maybe this leads to a showing at the PlayStation Experience, in December. So there's a lot of stuff that could come out of N7 Day. Another interesting thing that EA noted this week is they're not scared to have to delay Mass Effect Andromeda again. There was quite a few financial investor meetings or financial calls this past week from all the different companies looking back on the previous quarter. EA had one of their financial briefings. Blake Jorgensen, he stated that EA wouldn't balk at pushing back the release date of Mass Effect Andromeda if the company felt it was necessary to deliver the right experience to players. Quote, "We're willing to make moves in launch dates if we feel that it's necessary to deliver the right player experience. Our guidance assumes that Mass Effect continues to be in this fiscal year." So this is where I read it from. But it gives us some flexibility that we might choose to move it either a week or 3 or 4 or 5 months if we have to, based on what we want to make sure in terms of delivering the right experience to the players. Our focus is on building great games, and right now Mass Effect is tracking extremely well. The game looks beautiful, and we're really pleased with its progress. So what do you think about that, Brent? So obviously he said it's looking great, it's tracking well, it's still on pace for this fiscal year. Once again. So this is, to me, this just screams late March for Mass Effect Andromeda as the release date. And we saw that art book recently we talked about on the podcast where that's supposed to coincide with the release date of the game. That was in mid to late March. So it's looking more and more likely that could be the case. And I guess we'll get a better idea of that on N7 Day. What do you think, man?
I think what he's saying there is basically just covering his ass. They're covering the company's ass. So, hey, look, don't be surprised if it does happen. But it sounds like, you say that just to prepare people. But I think, like you said, this thing has got to be coming out March. I mean, we saw the leak on the book, and it says, coinciding with the game when it launches. That's coming out in March. Mass Effect games typically launch in March. It's a big money maker. You have it at the end of the fiscal year. It'll look good for that bottom line. So I think we're still looking at March, but I think that's just EA covering their ass saying, "Hey, look, we're not afraid to delay us if we have to." But I don't think we'll see a delay.
Do we got the smelling salts ready for Taz? Like when he is he gonna be ready for N7 Day? Like we might have to wave the fan.
He's doing cosplay. He's gonna cosplay this one.
Yeah, dressing up as a banshee maybe. Yeah, hopefully, man. Hopefully this is it. Hopefully this is what everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah,
what better time than N7 Day?
Hey, it's perfect.
I mean it's just it couldn't be any more perfect.
You gotta do it on N7 Day. That's the only time you can do a review, full on reveal is N7 Day. It's the only time before the Video Game Awards or PlayStation Experience. It's the only other time you could do it. So it's got to be N7 Day.
Yeah, that's the Video Game Awards too. I forgot about that. So yeah, so once you get the N7 Day reveal out, you've got the Game Informer cover story, and then you've got both the Game Awards and PlayStation Experience you could do more at before we get into next year, and then the game's released. So makes sense, man.
Yep. So my money says this baby's coming out in March, and I think they'll make sure it's out in March too.
And obviously, this thing's it's supporting the PlayStation 4 Pro, so this could be a nice show at the PlayStation Experience.
Indeed, and we talked about this before. During the break. I think the Pro's in a good position here. Obviously we got the Scorpio down in holiday 2017. That thing is going to be a tank of a machine. It's going to be able to kick out some impressive visuals, but the Pro has the luxury of holding the title as the most powerful console until then, and you're going to be able to see games like Mass Effect and Ghost Recon and For Honor on the PlayStation 4 Pro. That's going to be like the definitive version until the Scorpio version comes out somewhere down the line, and who knows how much better that's going to look. I mean, obviously with the specs of the Scorpio, they're going to be damn good looking games. But the Pro has the benefit of being the most powerful console until then, and there's some big titles to showcase on the Pro.
Yeah, definitely.
Some good stuff from Mass Effect. Let's jump into some Nintendo news. First up, a little back and forth between Eurogamer and Nintendo. Eurogamer reported that as of this past Friday, Nintendo is ending Wii U production.
Hmm.
Wii U's are no longer being produced as of Friday. At last, the official count as of September 30th, Nintendo had shipped 13.36 million Wii U consoles. The Wii U's final tally will likely now be only slightly more, according to Eurogamer. But then Nintendo came out and said, no. A spokesperson for Nintendo said there is no change to our continuing Wii U production. They basically said, that report that the Wii U was ending production was not true. Even though the Nintendo Switch is slated to go on sale, Wii U production is scheduled to continue. This was in reply to IT Media, which added that there are also upcoming Wii U titles planned for release.
Yeah, there's one, The Legend of Zelda.
Right. Right. And, they could have stopped production months ago, and all the same ones are still sitting in the stores because nobody's buying them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. Whether it's in production, I don't care. The Wii U's dead. I'm just waiting for the Switch. It is what it is. I mean, What are any thoughts on this? I mean, is this just does this story even matter?
It's all semantics, dude, like you just said. I mean, the Wii U, for all intents and purposes, is done. It's got a Zelda game coming out that many people are probably going to play on the Switch at this point. So, it's got one more game, probably in March. I don't think it's got anything else. There's certainly nothing substantial planned in between there. So, like you said, I mean, if production's done now or if it's done in March, it doesn't really matter. There's not very many of these that are going to fly off the shelf. I doubt this is on very many people's Christmas list at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Xbox One S, you've got the Pro, you've got VR, you got the Switch on the horizon.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the people that just are diehard people that want to have this system because it does have a nice catalog of games. But I mean, is anybody really? I mean, are they really just moving these things off shelves where you would notice if they stop producing them or not?
Yeah, I mean, and Kimishima already said that they were going to greatly reduce the amount of Wii U systems produced. So, I mean, this is not film at 11 that the Wii U is production is coming to an end. So, whether or not the Eurogamer report's correct, I mean, I'd probably put some credence in Eurogamer sources at this point. They've proven to be pretty reliable on a variety of fronts. So, this is probably more of Nintendo just saving face. But yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point. The Wii U's done.
That's pretty much the way I feel about it. Who cares? What else we got going on in the world of Nintendo, boys?
Oddly enough, we had an Animal Crossing Direct come out this past week. I know you tuned in for that.
Oh yeah,
the big Animal Crossing fan that you are.
Right, love it.
But basically, there's a new update coming to Animal Crossing New Leaf. So this is the 3DS game, which has been out for a while now. It's getting Amiibo support, so yay. And some mini games as well. So here's everything new coming to the free update for Animal Crossing. You can finally invite villagers to your town using Amiibo accessories. It gets better from here. However, special NPC Animal Crossing Amiibo figures will not move into your town. They will only appear in the campground and offer to sell unique items in their RVs. The game now contains a brand new campground area in the town where you can interact with villagers in new ways. All existing Animal Crossing Amiibo figures and cards are now compatible with the game. 50 new Animal Crossing Welcome Amiibo series Amiibo cards will be available to purchase beginning on December 2nd. So Amiibo support, mini games coming to Animal Crossing New Leaf. So if that's your thing, check that out. Tons of people love Animal Crossing. Do tons of people love Animal Crossing with Amiibo support? Sure. So so if you're excited about that, I believe this update's already live right now, right? It's already out now. I think after the Direct it went live. So this should be available right now. So I remember reading something. I think some people were having some trouble with the update erasing their game or something along those lines.
Let's check with our Nintendo correspondent.
Thanks, Bender. Moving on. Brent, we've heard some things about this Miitopia game. It's been bandied about a little bit, and there was actually another Nintendo Direct in Japan this week, and it involved this Miitopia game, and apparently it's some type of a role playing game with Miis. Is basically what it looks like. It's got some elements of Tamagotchi life as well. So some kind of cool looking stuff. Looks like something that would suck some time out of some people's lives. So keep your eye on Miitopia in the near future for the 3DS. We also got a release date for Dragon Quest VIII, the 3DS remake. This was originally a PS2 game, January 20th. So we'll slide it right in there with the rest of the quarter one 2017 releases. That'll be here in North America, January 20th on the 3DS. How about this? Blaster Master Zero coming to the 3DS in spring 2017 via Inti Creates. Blaster Master, if you remember, was an NES game. So it's getting an updated remake with Blaster Master Zero for the 3DS. Sounds pretty cool. Then we've got a rumor regarding the Switch, man. 4 gigs of RAM and 32 gigabytes of internal storage is what was rumored this past week. So 4 gigs of RAM, while not the 8 gigs that the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One currently has, and certainly not competing with the modern PCs, with 16 or 32 gigabytes of RAM. This is a substantial upgrade from the Wii U, which I believe had 2 gigabytes of RAM. And once again, this is a system that's heavily portable, so we got to keep that in mind as well. So it's double the RAM of the Wii U in a portable device, and we're hearing 32 gigabytes of internal storage, which is once again the in line with the Wii U. And I certainly hope you can use SD cards or something if that's the case, because obviously 32 gigabytes, not a lot of storage. I don't want to have to carry around a whole bunch of game cards with me for a system that's portable. I want to be able to store this stuff on the unit. So I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think about 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigabytes of internal storage as the rumored specs for this thing?
I mean, like you said, 32 gigs isn't a whole lot. Kind of curious to what the size of the download version of these titles will be, but if anyone's had a Nintendo 3DS or anything, I'm sure people have SD cards laying around.
Yeah.
I've got a couple. So I mean, hopefully does this thing support SD cards, or have they not confirmed that?
Well, that's what we don't know.
Okay.
We don't know if it's going to have. I hope it does. If it's a portable system, and it's only got 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, and these games are the sizes that they are, like I would certainly hope that there's an SD card slot on here, or whether they decide to go a proprietary thing. There's got to be something on here to expand the storage.
If there's 32 gigs on board, I gotta believe there's an SD support. I mean, there just has to be.
Yeah, it's got to be.
So, in that case, I mean, if that's in line with that, then I guess that's acceptable for a portable unit. I mean, I have an SD card, and my our Vitas are SD cards, the memory cards. The 3DS had it, so I mean that's typical for portable stuff.
Yeah. What do you think about the 4 gigs of RAM though? Is that gonna is this gonna be a burden on third party developers now?
That's and that's the one thing I was concerned about. That's when you look at like the titles that are being developed for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, they're using up a lot of that 8 gigs of RAM.
All of it.
They're a ton of it. Yeah, they're using up whatever's available to them. They're using it up.
Yeah.
And my biggest concern with the Switch is whether the third party support, whether these developers are going to want to waste their time having to produce for a Pro version of a game, eventually a Scorpio version of a game, which are going to be, maxing out these 8 gigs. Are they going to really have the time? I mean, I got to believe if Mark Cerny says it's super easy to make a Pro version, that's one thing. I got to believe it's a little bit tougher to cut off a ton of stuff so it runs off 4 gigs of RAM as opposed to 8. I got to believe this is more time consuming than just adding Pro support or Scorpio support, however that's going to work.
Yeah.
So that's a concern. If this is going to be a pain in the ass for third-party developers, dude, they're not going to have that support that they desperately need.
Yeah, it's
unless the development tools are really easy to use in order to make that port, to port it over with half the memory. Maybe if the development tools are there that allows them to do it with ease, then that's a completely different story. But I don't know. I have no idea what the development tools are like, or what it's like to even port something from one system to another. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I'm sure development tools are there to make things easy, to make things easier to port games over. So hopefully if that is 4 gigs of RAM on board as opposed to 8, hopefully Nintendo has development kits for these developers that'll make that transition easy so they can attain that third-party support.
Yeah, like you said, we're not developers. We don't know what goes into this. And these machines are all proprietary. They all have custom chipsets and then that kind of stuff. So the Nintendo Switch is no different. So it's got its own custom way that it's built. And people take these things into account. They know that 4 gigs of RAM is not 8 gigs of RAM. So I'm sure that they've tried to account for this in the way that the machine was manufactured. So whether through technical wizardry or or just the way they built the system, whether they're able to get around that, especially with this being a portable device. Maybe that won't be as big of an issue as we think it might be. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And once again, you got to take all this with a grain of salt. These are not confirmed specs. These are just the rumors that we heard.
Right.
These, Emily Rogers, Arcade Girl, she's been very reliable with her information in the past. So I would put some stock behind what she has to say. So, but still, none of this is confirmed at this point. So this is just pure speculation. I mean, is this going to affect the performance of the game on the TV as well? Like, if it's got 4 gigs of RAM, like, are they able to run the type of resolution they want to run for your TV? And obviously, the handheld is 720p from what we know,
Mm-hmm.
but are we going to be able to get at least the 1080p image on the TV when it's docked? Like, is that going to is this RAM going to factor into that? I'm not sure what type of effect this has on it, but
yeah, and if it is able to get 1080p, how's it going to run?
yeah.
I mean, is the performance going to be there? So,
Mhm.
a lot of questions, man.
Yeah.
A lot of questions, and I just don't have the answers for it.
Yeah.
I'm not we're not developers like you mentioned, but it's hard to kind of. I mean, when you follow video games as much as like all of us do,
Mhm.
me, you, with our listeners, eventually you kind of get an idea of how things work, a very broad generalization of it, and just sometimes after a while you look at things like I just don't see how that adds up.
Yeah.
So that's why we're hoping, like you said, these are just rumors. These aren't confirmed specs. I mean, they might end up being something completely different. We're like, oh yeah, now it makes sense that they'd be able to get that. So,
Yeah.
But it does raise a lot of questions. It makes you just wonder what is under the hood of this thing. So hopefully we'll find that out sometime in January, early January.
Yeah. That's the word on the street, right? It's Nintendo has said themselves. So, a couple more months of speculation and rumors, and then we'll get the official word come early January. So, really, really interested to see the final specs on this thing, man. See how it all works out. Also, in Switch news, Level 5 had some things to say about Nintendo Switch. Obviously, they're the developers of Professor Layton, Ni no Kuni, Dark Cloud, wealth of games they've developed over the years. But they said Level 5 games are coming to Switch. They just won't be available at launch. So this is what the CEO, Akihito Hino, had to say. We plan to make games for Nintendo Switch, but I think it's very important to find out the best way to get the most out of the console. For that reason, we won't have any titles at launch, but we'll work with it as soon as we figure out how to take advantage of it. Level 5, they've been a staunch Nintendo supporter over the years. They've got tons of games on the 3DS and throughout their consoles. So, sounds like no need to fear. They will be supporting the Nintendo Switch. They just won't be there at launch. Mm-hmm. So, good news for Nintendo fans, for Level 5 fans. And then this was an interesting little nugget here, Brent, but Super Mario Run was created with Unity. Nintendo this past week, we are thrilled that the legendary creators, Unity tweeted this out. We are thrilled that the legendary creators Nintendo America are bringing Mario to mobile for the first time, and it's made with Unity. So, does that make it more likely that we see Mario Run on Nintendo Switch?
Well, I gotta believe they'll try to get that thing out wherever they can get it, man.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that it's developed on Unity. Unity is going to be a platform that's supported. Obviously, it's supported on many different platforms. Why it's called Unity, but it'll be on the Switch as well. So I got to think that's a conscious effort to be able to get this onto their other devices as well. You'd think.
Mm-hmm. You would think. Yeah. Let's keep it moving. We got some Destiny news. Destiny 2 to be precise. Activision Publishing CEO Eric Hirschberg had some news to talk about Destiny, or had some things to say about Destiny 2 during an earnings call.
Good old earnings call. This was earnings call week.
Earnings calls, earnings calls galore all for the kids.
All for the kids.
He declined to share specifics about the release timing, but he said it's aimed to broaden the appeal of Destiny. He said it's being made to appeal to existing fans, lapsed players, and newcomers. Here's what he had to say. We're on track and really excited for what we think is going to be an awesome sequel for Destiny in 2017. That sequel is designed to both excite our highly engaged current players, but also to broaden the appeal even further, bringing in new fans and bringing back lapsed fans. So, how do you think they're going to make this more appealing to new fans? I mean, obviously, new fans are people that didn't jump on board previously.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think they need to do to Destiny to make it more appealing?
I think a big part of that's going to be the narrative, and
Mm-hmm.
we talked about that. That was a sore spot in the original Destiny, and that could have turned some people off initially, and then they kind of missed the boat on Destiny 1 and just kind of got behind the eight ball on it and never got back on track with it. So I think the narrative is going to be a big part of it. Um, just we talked about this before, but I really wonder if starting the game over, starting your character over, like if that's probably going to appeal to new players a lot more than bringing
Mm-hmm.
over your existing characters. As much
Mm-hmm.
as those of us that have played Destiny for a long time, we kind of shudder at that idea of not being able to carry our character over. But to the millions of people that want to get into Destiny and that want to be on a level playing field with everybody else, that's going to be very appealing if they can get into a game with everybody else that's at the same level as them, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
jumping in with a guy that's just a beast right out of the gate. So
Right.
I think that's going to come into play as well. So yeah, but obviously they've got to appeal, like Hirschberg said here. They're very engaged fan base. I mean, Destiny
Mm-hmm.
fans are ravenous consumers of content. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they are rabid for this game. We play a lot of them. We have a lot of them on our friends list. We talk
Mm-hmm.
to these guys all the time. So the Destiny community is extremely rabid for this game, and they are just constantly want to eat up content. So if they can produce a whole bunch of content, the the current Destiny population is going to be very, very excited.
This is true, and which is why Hertzberg also acknowledged during the call that Bungie has struggled somewhat to keep up with the demand for new content. He said he thinks the developers should be able to do better in this regard in the future. Hertzberg said, in the past, I've mentioned that the incredible demand for Destiny content has somewhat outpaced our ability to deliver upon that demand. Going forward, along with our partners at Bungie, we put together what we believe is a very smart approach that will allow us to deliver this steady stream of great content to keep our players engaged and keep the universe alive and growing in the wake of that sequel.
Hmm.
That, to me, is a huge selling point. It'll also bring back a lot of people who stopped playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, that'll appeal to a lot of people. Because, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that probably didn't jump into it because, like, man, I heard there's nothing to do. My buddy said he stopped playing after a while. So I'm sure that probably drove away a couple of people who might have been on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
But if they have a streamlined plan that will have more consistent content, that'll definitely appeal to people who maybe were on the fence that didn't jump into it the first time.
Oh yeah, dude. If this game gets a steady stream of content, like Hirschberg is referring to here, I mean, this is a game that could literally just it can make you not want to play another game.
It really could.
Like you could
We've
just
talked about this many times,
yeah.
boys. I mean, there are very few games since the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 have launched that we revisit as much as Destiny. I can't think of any.
Yeah, there's zero. There's zero games.
If I think really hard, I'm trying to think of games that have come out since those consoles have dropped that I have revisited as much as Destiny. I can't think of any.
No, there's none.
I played Destiny from the launch of that game to now, and I've got all these other games I've played in between as well. But I play them till I beat them, and then I move on. I don't ever go back and play Call of Duty Ghosts. Not only because it sucked, but I'm just trying to make a point. But like all these titles, Overwatch, for example, game I really, really like. Haven't gone back to that. Doom, I haven't even finished the campaign. But man, Destiny, you guys around? Yeah, let's run some raids or let's do some strike missions, new content. Destiny has been a consistent part of this gaming generation for me and for many people. And that speaks volumes about that game because I can't think of one other game from 2013 that I have gone back to play at all.
Yeah. I mean, hell, it's a game we played even before launch. I mean, we were there.
Yeah.
We were there for the alpha. We were there for the beta. We rolled right into the game when it launched. Played it all through year 1, all through year 2. Now we're here in year 3, still chugging along, still making our way through the raid. So it's just it's never ending with Destiny, and I wouldn't have it any other way, man. It's been a great experience with Destiny. It's just a really, really well made game. I have a ton of fun playing every time we get in there and are able to play it. I mean, just hundreds of hours dropped into this thing. I'm incredibly excited for Destiny to especially some of the things we've heard with the play-in spaces, and as we talked about on the show a few weeks back about some of the stuff we've heard about Destiny 2. Just incredibly excited for this game. I mean, like you said, man, this is a game where when it comes out, like, we're going to find out how to take some days off work, because it's going to be that type of an event. Man, next year Destiny 2 is going to be here. Next fall at this time, we'll be playing Destiny 2.
Ugh, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I can't wait. And to keep it going, talking about like the content and how you mentioned fans are just nuts for it.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent DLC offering for Destiny, The Rise of Iron, made more money for Activision and Bungie at launch than the base game did, according to an analyst firm, SuperData.
That's crazy, man.
That's insane. Conversely, combined digital physical sales only brought in $47.5 million when the game launched back in September of 2014. It's even more interesting to consider the gulf between those figures when you realize the original launch was across 4 consoles, while Rise of Iron only hit Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Man.
The analysts at SuperData conclude their report by saying that Destiny is the current top performer in the console digital revenue space, with Call of Duty Black Ops 3 coming in second.
Dude, I believe that too, because like I said, the fans of this game, if
Mm-hmm.
Activision wants to make money, they could simply just put out a Destiny expansion and literally everyone would buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Literally everyone that plays this game is going to buy Rise of Iron or whatever the new content is, because that's what these people, I mean, they are hungry for new Destiny stuff. Like, they get in here and Rise of Iron came out and we're like, okay, the raid level is 360, whatever they said it was going to be. Yeah, that's going to be the level that you're raid ready. And guys are like at 360 like days later. The thing's out, they're already ready to go. They're like, all right, we're good. Friday hits, we're getting into the raid and we're going through it. Level cap 385. Guys hit that within a few days. It's just like, geez. Level cap 400. All right, let's get into the hard mode raid. We're going to get through this as quick as we can. We're going to hit 400, and then we're going to be like, man, what do we do now? So it's like, man, these guys getting here. I mean, I'm still trying to get to 385. I haven't even got to that. I haven't even got to that level yet. So yeah, it's wild. The Destiny community is insane. The way they consume content, and so I believe that's wild though. Especially Rise of Iron was $30.
Yeah.
Destiny Vanilla was $60.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, like you said, it was on 4 consoles.
Right.
Rise of Iron was digitally only half priced on 2 consoles, and it brought in more. That's and we see it in the MPD numbers now that they're reporting the digital data. Like, we see Destiny showing up on the list every month. 3 years,
and that's probably
2+ years after release.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got like 2+ years there. So obviously, people at launch from September.
Yep.
You had your base there, but then you just had people over the years just piling on and piling on.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, it makes, I mean, it's still crazy to think about, but it makes a little bit of sense when you think about it in that regard. For 2 years, you've had people buying this game and getting hooked, and finally they release Rise of Iron, and then you've got this massive install base. So, if you think about it that way, it makes sense, but still, just the fact that the DLC is outselling the original launch, which, like you said, hit 4 platforms, is just mind-boggling.
It's wild. It's just a testament to Destiny and its community, and like I said, how people just consume content for this game. So it's wild.
There's a reason that Bungie and Activision agreed to a 10-year plan on this game, man. It's going to make Activision a lot of money.
Yeah, and every time they come out with an expansion, it's at the top of the PSN charts. When they come out with those lists of every month, like the top downloads, Destiny's right up there at the top.
If it's not a Call of Duty map pack, it's Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. And
unreal.
And they're all from Activision.
Unreal.
Good grief, man.
Activision's just rolling in the dough.
Just like Scrooge McDuck, just swimming in the gold vault. It's insane.
And one quick PSA for Destiny: Iron Banner returns this week.
Sweet.
So
can't wait.
Got to work on that book 3, man. I think what is it? You got to get to level 5, rank 5.
Yep, rank 5.
I still got to do that. You guys hammered that out last time, didn't you?
We hammered it out last time, and the drop rate for Iron Banner was very nice. So we got lots of great stuff, lots of great gear.
You guys got all those awesome guns.
Yeah, and I believe they're going to be selling the Clever Dragon at the that's going to be the vendor gun they have. Awesome gun. That's the pulse rifle that some people got. I didn't get it to drop last time, but I definitely want to get my hands on that. Bender got his hands on the hand cannon as well. It's a full impact hand cannon. It's a nice piece. But I really like the guns I got out of there, like the Distant Star, the scout rifle out of there.
Yeah.
It's a full auto scout rifle that shoots very fast. That's an awesome gun. I love that gun. So I would recommend getting your hands on one of those if you can get it to drop. You'll really like that gun. The Unbent Tree, the assault rifle, shoots extremely fast. That one's really cool as well. So yeah, and from what I heard, the Clever Dragon, one of the best pulse rifles in the game now. So if you can get your hands on that, that's the way to go.
You mentioned a full automatic scout rifle. I just think of my baby, the Vision of Confluence.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
man.
dude, you'll really like the Distant Star if you get your hands on one of those. I think you'll really like it.
Hey, give me a year 3 Vision, dude. Make it an exotic. I don't care. The Vision. That was a beaut, man. The Vision was a beaut.
Yeah, we gotta do some Iron Banner this week.
I'll definitely be on for some Iron Banner. I gotta try to squeeze that in.
Dude, and like I said, the drop rates have been very nice in Iron Banner. So outside of just doing the Iron Banner bounties and everything that you get from those, like you're getting drops in between matches that are really good. Like you're getting good gear, you're getting good stuff. Like, you're really gonna upgrade your character, and Iron Banner will drop up to 400, so you can level up really nice on Iron Banner.
Man. Well, I'm gonna have to make some time for that. I don't know, Dishonored 2 though, man. It's gonna be a tough one to squeeze in.
Well, you got till Thursday on that. Thursday, Friday on Dishonored.
That's right. I can go Tuesday. I can go Tuesday night.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Get some Iron Banner on Tuesday night. All right, let's keep it going. This next one, this is hilarious. The name of the next Tomb Raider game has apparently been leaked in the most just random way. Redditor Triple H 280 was riding a Montreal subway when he looked down to his left, and there's a guy on a laptop. And, on this page, it was talking about visuals, and he could see at the top of the page, it just said, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's a description. I mean, basically, it's just all this information about this game, and it says at the top, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And Triple H 280 said this, I'm from Montreal, Quebec. I was going downtown for work and took a quick snap. I really would love to say more, but other than the title, the rest was blurry from where I was at. But, dude,
I'm picturing this guy on the subway, and he's like holding his phone like he's not really doing anything. And he's snapping a picture of this guy. just looking awkward as hell.
Yeah, I mean, how does the guy next to him not see the guy looking at his camera and then clicking a picture? I mean, how do you not notice that?
Why does he just have like, I don't want to say like classified documents. This isn't like government secrets or anything, but he's got this game that's unannounced. He just willy-nilly on his laptop there on the subway, like nobody's around him.
Right. And they mentioned, everyone's like, well, isn't Tomb Raider developed by Crystal Dynamics, a studio in San Francisco? But this is true, yes, the Tomb Raider was developed by Crystal Dynamics, but people are hearing that Eidos Montreal, the large studio behind Thief and Deus Ex Mankind Divided, will be helming Lara's next adventures. So that would make sense why you would see somebody in Montreal on a subway with this on their computer. And this is coincidental, but Eidos Montreal is just a few minutes away from Ubisoft Montreal, whose employees accidentally revealed Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on an airplane 3 years ago. So people in Montreal, you're lousy at keeping information under wraps.
Information superhighway on the public transit system there over in Montreal. Dude, so there's a couple things in here. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, first of all, Kotaku notes that this is the name that they've heard for the game as well. So okay. that lends some credence to what we saw on this screenshot here. The other thing is, what's the story with Eidos Montreal being helming this next adventure? Does that mean they're just helping Crystal Dynamics? Is Crystal Dynamics moving on to something else? I mean, they are Tomb Raider. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm. And that's, when I hear somebody's helming something, that doesn't say helping.
Yeah.
Helming to me is they're running this thing.
Yeah. What they just finished was Mankind Divided. And obviously they're working on DLC for that game too, as well as supporting that game and whatever else is next for the Deus Ex franchise. So yeah,
That's strange.
that's an interesting fit.
Where's Crystal Dynamics going? What are they doing?
I mean that's what they are Tomb Raider. That's their thing. They did the reboot. They've worked on all these Tomb Raider games. They've done a great job with the franchise recently. So it would seem strange if they weren't working on the next Tomb Raider. So I don't know if it's just the way this is worded or if that's a slip. If we're just interpreting it wrong. But I'd be very shocked if Crystal Dynamics was not involved with Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
It won't be the craziest thing Square's ever done. Saying, hey,
No.
look, you're not working on this anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody else is taking it, and we got something else for you. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and maybe we'll hear about a little bit more about this in 2017.
I mean, that's another thing. Is Square the rights holder to Tomb Raider?
Man, I don't know if they are or not.
I mean, if Crystal Dynamics, they've been working on Tomb Raider for a long time, even before the reboot. I think they were handling Tomb Raider like back in the PS3 generation as well. So they've been doing Tomb Raider for a long time now. So I mean, with the quality of the work that they've done, I would think if they went to Square and they're like, "Hey, we got a new idea for a new game we want to work on," I would think that they would be like, "Sure, you guys have earned the right to do that. We have some talented studios that can pick up the slack based on the framework that you guys have created. So let's see what else you can do, and then you can make another great franchise for us." So I mean, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And Eidos Montreal, they've proven that they're a quality developer as well. We weren't the biggest Thief fans, but Mankind Divided, by all accounts, was a fantastic title. It was one that you really enjoyed. So, it seems strange that they would take up Tomb Raider, a game that's nothing like the other games they've worked on. That at least that I can see.
Yeah, and based on the reboot and Rise of the Tomb Raider, I really want to know what Crystal Dynamics is working on now. If they're not doing Tomb Raider, I want to know what they're working on.
Yeah, so we'll need some clarifications on what's going on with this, and I don't think we'll find out anytime soon, but interesting enough to know the title of the game.
Everyone talks about, we found out what the title is, but when you look into all this stuff, there's a lot of telling information in this, so cool, good stuff. Up next, That Game Company is teasing their next game. Posting on its official Twitter account and website, the developer offered no information aside from the text, "a game about giving." And they also posted up a teaser image, but they released a couple other images. Not a lot to take from them, from what I could see. I mean, it just, you had one picture where it looked like there was some kind of like it's like a rock formation, or what was that?
It's like Stonehenge or something like that.
Yeah,
like
Stonehenge with something coming from the sky. I mean,
it's got kind of a mystical look to it.
Yeah, big time. And not really sure what to make of it, but this game will be out in 2017, and basically anytime That Game Company makes a game, you just buy it.
Yeah.
So obviously there's the developers
asked
behind Journey, Flower, and Flow. I'm sure this game will just be something mesmerizing and something that'll just hit you at the core. So I don't know, man. What do you make of this? I mean, like I said, there's not a whole lot you can take from this, other than it's a game about giving.
Yeah, game about giving. We've heard That Game Company in the past talk about they want to kind of further explore this idea of multiplayer that they kind of first explored with Journey. So they want to build upon some of the unique ideas they had in terms of that. And we see one of the images here is 4 what appears to be children going hand in hand and either running or jumping in the air. So that gives us a clue as to, I think, kind of the multiplayer focus that this game's going to have. So there's going to be some of that going on here. I think with that one image with Stonehenge, we get some kind of fantastical element to this as well. So this may not be as grounded as something like Flower. It might be more fantastic, like something like Journey. So, and then there's this interesting image of the candles. I'm not sure what to make of that.
I had no idea.
But one candle's trying to light the other candle. So, that could go back to the helping, giving type of thing that That Game Company's been talking about. But like you said, I mean, when these guys make a game, you just go buy it, and then you play it.
Yeah, but their games are just games you just get lost in, both mentally and emotionally. I mean, you're just invested into the game from the start, and they find a way to just hit you at the core, and it's they're a talented studio. I'm really excited to see what they're working on.
No, the other thing they said 2017 on this. So
yep, Coming out next year.
Next year, we'll have it.
Hope maybe that's a PlayStation Experience thing. I mean, I understand. I think they said, they had a three game deal with Sony regarding Flow, Flower, and Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this will be a multi-platform thing, but with their relationship with Sony, maybe we'll see something at PSX.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, that's something that would really get the fans going to at PSX.
Oh God, yeah. You have that game coming to show up at PSX, so that people will get hyped for that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of PlayStation, boys, what's going on in the world of PlayStation? We got some PlayStation stories.
Yeah, we had a few things come out this week. First off, we got some shipping numbers for the PlayStation 4. For the July through September 2016 quarter, Sony shipped 3.9 million PlayStation 4 consoles, which is comparable to the 4 million they shipped at the same time last year. That brings the grand total of PlayStation 4 consoles shipped to 47.4 million. It's a lot of consoles in under 3 years for the system. So, the system continues to sell well. It's slowed down a little bit here before the Slim and before the PS4 Pro, but I anticipate that will pick up now that those systems are out. Now that the holidays are coming out around the corner, and we've got some big titles coming up in the future here from them with Horizon and Gran Turismo is on the horizon as well. So lots of stuff coming out. So I don't think that will be an issue moving forward. And obviously they've already moved almost 48 million consoles, so the system is very 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 healthy at this point. This was an announcement I was really excited for, but Zero Escape, the Nunnery games, coming out next year on PS4 and Vita, and this is going to bring the Zero Escape saga to the PlayStation 4 for the first time. So that's awesome. The other part of it, though, is that we're going to have 999, which was the first game in this trilogy. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. It's going to be available on the Vita for the first time. So this setup is going to include 999 and Virtue's Last Reward in one collection. Zero Time Dilemma just came out recently for the Vita. So now you'll be able to play through the entire 999 saga, or the entire Zero Escape saga from the beginning on the PlayStation Vita. What do you think about that, Brent?
Well, I hope they sell 999 separately, because I went out of my way to buy Virtue's Last Virtue's Last Reward?
Yeah, Virtue's Last Reward.
Yeah, I picked that one up already, so I just need 999. I don't want to have to buy both versions. So hopefully they sell 999 separately, but I think this is awesome. It's coming to the PS4, though, as well, at least 2 of the titles.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll find a way to get the third one on there as well. Then I mean,
I would hope so.
Seems strange that they would put the first 2 on there, and then the third one you got to go buy on the Vita. So you would think that there'd be some kind of a way to get the third one on there as well, but
tricky way to keep that Vita alive, baby.
Yeah,
you want to play the third one? Go buy a Vita.
Dude, I've always heard great things about this franchise, like really good things, really good things about the Zero Escape franchise. I haven't sat down to get into one yet, though. I remember
I've been waiting. I have the last 2. I've been waiting for the first one.
Yeah.
I talked to a guy on Twitter about it, and he's mentioned, he goes, you don't have to play them in order, but you'll understand, some of the smaller, intricate parts of the story a lot better if you do. So that's why I'm waiting on 999 before I start it. But I have the other 2 already on my Vita.
Yeah. So looks like patience will have paid off in this case, because 999 will be coming early next year. I definitely want to pick that one up as well. Got an announcement of a new strategy game. It's called Tooth and Tail. I love that name. The real-time strategy game coming to PS4. It's from the developers of Monaco. What's Yours Is Mine, which is a big-time game on Xbox Live, I remember. I think it was on the 360. Or maybe it was on the Xbox One. I don't remember. Not too long ago. A lot of people really got into that game. It was about like heists, I think. Heisting and getaway cars and that kind of stuff. So a lot of people got into Monaco. They have a new game now. It's coming out to PlayStation 4 now, so this will be their first time on the system, I believe. Monaco was their first game. And very interesting. I always like when they do these anthropomorphic animal characters and turn them into these kind of characters that you use in these games. So you're going to lead the animal revolution with an army of flame-throwing boars, mustard gas-lobbing skunks, and a fighting force of World War I era beasts. So that sounds awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, they want to have a simple approach to the strategy genre on the PlayStation 4, but they want to also show that you can have a really good controller setup for a real-time strategy game on the PS4. So, like what I've seen of Tooth and Tail, keep my eye on that one. Drawn to Death, Brent, no longer a free-to-play game.
Oh.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hate free-to-play games. They just, they just at some point they're gonna nickel and dime you, and I love just being able to just go and just buy the game and just have it. So I'm happy that Drawn to Death, which is a game I'm really interested in, I'm happy that it's going this route now, where it's gonna have the just a standard retail package. I think there's gonna be some other stuff that you can purchase as well. But Jaffe was on the PlayStation blog. He outlined some of you're gonna have all of the characters unlocked at launch for you. You're gonna have the different levels available, and some of these levels sound crazy, dude. Like Alien Town, the invading alien invasion. There's a level that's underwater in the flood. That
like
level,
Bloodbath.
yeah, bloodbath is as well. So some really out there, some really creative stuff in this game. In a game that's already very creative. I actually haven't. Did you ever get to play Drawn to Death in its beta form or whatever it was, early access form?
Very, very briefly. I mean, very briefly, because I think I got on and there were some issues with the servers, and I wasn't able to actually get past the tutorial, like the training. So I never actually got into a full-on match, but I was really disappointed because I wanted to play that game.
Gotcha. What do you think about it going like traditional retail now? Is that exciting for you?
Oh yeah, like you said, the free-to-play model, it can work.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Neverwinter's a nice model for free-to-play. But I mean, like you said, I like the idea of just buying the game and having everything unlocked and grinding that way. Grinding like, a regular way, not the free-to-play way where the grind is extra grindy unless you buy a couple things here and there. I like the just pay $60. I'm cool with that. And just let me play the game, unlocked completely.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. We don't have a launch date on Drawn to Death yet, but Jaffe noted in his blog post that there's going to be some more details coming soon. So keep our eye on that, and then we'll get an official release date coming up in the future. My money's on Q1 2017, because why not?
Why not?
Yeah. So that's Drawn to Death. We've got a couple other things that were announced this week as well. I Expect You to Die hits PSVR in December. It's a funny name for a game. It's actually a spy puzzle game where you're like this spy and you've got to figure out how to get out of these traps and these situations you find yourself in. So like picture the scene in The Last Crusade when Indy and his dad are like tied up in the chair. They've got to figure out how to get out of that burning room. Like that's
right.
One of the scenarios you could end up in, and I Expect You to Die. And then there's all these different ways you can die in this game. Sounds really interesting for a VR game. The Deer God is coming to PS4 and Vita next year. This is that Metroidvania deer game that we saw on Xbox One earlier this year. It'll be coming to PlayStation next year. Dog 2 is confirmed for the PlayStation 4 now, and the game was announced a few weeks back. No platforms were confirmed at that time. No surprise that it's going to be on PlayStation 4. Knights and Bikes. If you haven't seen this game, dude, go watch a trailer for it that released recently. This game looks really, really, really good. Awesome art style. Co-op adventure game. Has kind of a Goonies feel to it as well. It's a very, very, very cool looking game. Look out for Knights and Bikes when that comes out. It's got some people that worked on like Media Molecule. You can see some of that influence in the game as well. Drive Club's final patch is live now. The final patch. This is it. This is patch number 28 or 29 or however many of these they've done. But the final farewell patch for Drive Club has gone live. It brought 15 new tracks to the PlayStation 4 game, which is awesome. It's almost 6 gigs, 5.75 gigs. It sees the urban Drive Club VR courses coming over to the original Drive Club. On top of that, there are now reverse variants for looks like 5 tracks, and it comes with a message from the Drive Club developers as well. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your commitment. Farewell, and enjoy the game. So obviously, we know Evolution was shut down recently. They are the ones who developed Drive Club. There's been a small team that Sony's assembled. They're tasked with keeping up support on this game up until this point. But now that's done. So Drive Club's had a long run here, had a rocky start. But many people have come to really love this game. It really kind of cleaned up its act after its initial launch woes. And a couple years down the line, it's a game that people look back fondly upon and still play all the time. And it's got just a ton of content. And this game really kept the pedal to the metal in terms of its update system. What do you think, Brent, now that this game's getting its final patch?
That's great, and I just feel like Drive Club is one of those games where, with what we're trying to do and having jobs and families and whatnot, it's a first impressions kind of thing, and first impressions go a long ways. And Drive Club, for as beautiful as it was, did have issues at launch that made it not so appealing. And we never all got really into it. I never had a chance to play it, to experience it, and it's harder than hell to go back to it now. I don't even have it on my system. I mean, you got to make room for some of these games, and with all the updates this game has gotten, it's probably a hefty download now. And it's just one of those games where, if I didn't have to run a website and I didn't have all the other obligations in my life, I might have had time to go back and revisit, but I just don't. Yeah. And I appreciate how good the game looks. It was a beautiful looking game. And I'm happy to hear that a lot of people are enjoying it now, that they were able to fix up a lot of the issues and actually deliver the game they envisioned. But no, it's just something that I don't have time to go back to anymore.
Yeah, I'm sad I didn't get a chance to get into the game. Hopefully I can fire it up at some point. It's always a game I've wanted to play. I do like racers. I just sometimes have trouble making time for them. So yeah, but kudos to Drive Club for turning itself around, for becoming a game that many people, it's kind of become a cult. It's got a cult following at this point. So a lot of people got behind the game after it cleaned up its act, and yeah, sad to see Evolution go as well. But they're in good hands now over there with Codemasters, so I'm sure they're going to make some great games over there. One more thing here. PlayStation VR sales are on track, according to Sony.
Good.
No specific sales numbers were given. But during an earnings briefing for the second quarter of 2016, Kenichiro Yoshida, Sony's chief financial officer, said sales of the company's new headset are on track. While that doesn't specify any specific sales numbers, the president and chief executive at Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, Jim Ryan, he told CNBC last month that Sony expects to sell hundreds of thousands of units at launch. So we can expect that they're tracking for at least that number at this point. So are these readily available at this point? I'm kind of in a bubble here. I don't I don't go to the store a lot to buy my gaming stuff. Most of it gets shipped here. So I don't know. Are these like, can people go to a store and buy these? Or is there any inventory issues with VR right now?
I didn't see any at the GameStop I went to today, but I did see it was available on Amazon. The base model, the base bundle, or the base model was base not model. The bundle version.
Okay.
But I did see that was available. But then I saw somebody write down. I thought I saw an article that said that Amazon had gone through its allotment, and they weren't expecting any more until early 2017. So
wow. Okay.
I'm not really sure where it is on this, but I mean, like I said, I've gone into or GameStop and I didn't see any sets for sale. So from my understanding, this thing's selling very well, and it's going quick when it's available.
Okay, right on. Well, Sony seems to be happy with where it's at this point, so we'll see where things go from here.
Cool. Up next, another earnings call. Blake Jorgensen from EA explained that a new Battlefront game will be coming a year from now, and that a new Star Wars action game, possibly maybe one of those titles from Visceral or Respawn, will potentially be out by April 2018.
That's got to be the Visceral title.
You think so?
It's got to be. That Respawn one cannot be that far along.
Yeah, especially because they've just got on with Titanfall 2.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's Stig's team that's working on the Star Wars game, true, but I can't imagine that they're that far into development on it yet.
Battlefront next year to coincide with Episode 8, so that'll sell a ton.
Boy, if they can just crank out Battlefront and coincide with the release of the episodes, man, I mean they made a bank load off of the original Battlefront coinciding with Episode 7. I can only imagine that if they just continue to do this, I mean they're just gonna print money with this stuff. It's gonna sell itself.
Right. And then you got all the hype. Then you have possibly Viscerals, a couple months later in April. That's just that's the one I'm excited about, is the Visceral one. I mean, I like Battlefront. I think Battlefront was a fun game. But when you get a story with Amy Hennig behind it, and with Visceral's talent, that's the Star Wars game I think everyone's really excited for. Yeah,
I mean, Visceral's the one. It's the one we saw at the E3 press conference from EA. In that very strange trailer that we saw, a brief snippet of the game. Like, that's the one. It seems like that's the next one in line. You know, some of the other ones, the Respawn one, the Jade Raymond stuff. I think she's got some other stuff going on with Star Wars outside of the Visceral game. But with that stuff, you know, I just feel like the Visceral one's next in line.
Yeah, for sure. More earnings calls. Take-Two investors call reveals that Grand Theft Auto 5 has now shipped 70 million units.
My gosh.
The company reported strong results for the second quarter of its fiscal year, with CEO Strauss Zelnick crediting part of the success to the ongoing, robust demand for Grand Theft Auto 5.
And a lot of that goes down to Grand Theft Auto Online, which has just been a huge boon for them, and it's kept people engaged, and it's got people constantly buying this game. It's insane.
I don't know. I think it was on Twitter. Is it Zoo? Who's the ZooX?
Oh, Zooge EX?
Yeah, Zooge.
Yeah.
I think he posted some numbers that he says that by the end of the year, it's possible that Grand Theft Auto 5 will sell more in 2016 than it did 2014.
Really?
It might sell more copies in 2016 than it did 2014.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5. That's just dude. Rockstar can do no wrong with Grand Theft Auto, man.
No.
They really can.
Yeah, and this is a franchise where they take their time with these. They release them once every 5-6 years, and every time one of these things comes out, it's an event, and that event lasts for a very long time. So, they're just gonna keep doing their thing. They're gonna keep doing Grand Theft Auto the way that they do, and it's gonna keep being just a juggernaut for them. But and this is influencing how they're going to do their other games as well. I mean, we've heard Red Dead Online is going to be a huge part of Red Dead Redemption 2. So GTA Online's been just a really big success for them. It's probably going to change the way that they think about their games moving forward.
Up next, Watch Dogs 2 Season Pass has been detailed. Here's what players can expect to get with the Watch Dogs 2 Season Pass. Players will unlock the following DLC items as they become available. First, you have the T-Bone Content Bundle. Players will get the style and swagger of legendary hacker Raymond T-Bone Kenny with his truck and outfit, and they'll discover Mayhem, a new co-op difficulty level that will pit players against a new enemy archetype armed with advanced weaponry. Next, Human Conditions. Through several hours of additional mission content.
Several hours.
What's that?
Several hours. That's a lot.
Through several hours of additional mission content and 3 new world stories, players will uncover San Francisco's biggest scandals on the cutting edge of science, medicine, and misuse. In Human Conditions, players will also experience new elite co-op missions and face a new enemy type, Jammer, with the technology to hunt players down. Lastly, No Compromise. Players will experience an all-new world story which mixes Marcus up in the seedy underbelly of San Francisco and puts him in the crosshairs of the Russian mafia. Also includes a new co-op mode, Showdown, where only the best players survive. In addition, players with the Season Pass will get day one access to 2 unique DLC packs. First, you'll have Root Access Bundle, which includes full sets of outfits, cars, drone skin, and a new weapon, as well as the Zodiac Killer mission. And then the other thing you'll unlock is a Psychedelic Pack. Customize Marcus's outfit, weapon, drone, and car in the grooviest styles. You can pick up the Season Pass for $39.99, or it comes included with the Gold Edition of Watch Dogs 2. So, nice little, not bad for a $39.99 Season Pass. You got some 3 expansions that'll, add new modes, difficulty levels, and then you got your typical day one unlocks.
Yeah, and I like that you're getting a lot of additional like story content as well. There's a lot of different single player stuff that they're putting into that pack there too, so that's awesome.
So yeah, that's your Watchdog update. That comes out next week. Oh my god, when am I gonna have time to play this game? Up next, Xbox bulletins. First up, Phil Spencer says, "Don't expect a new Xbox every 2 years."
Good.
And this is what Phil had to say. I know, thank God. I don't have this desire to every 2 years have a new console on the shelf. That's not part of the console business model, and it doesn't actually help us. The best customer I have is somebody who buys the original Xbox and just buys all the games. That's the best customer for us in terms of the pure financials of it. I'm not trying to turn consoles into the graphics card market. Thank you, Phil. We appreciate that. To be completely honest, I don't know what the next console is past Scorpio. We're thinking about it. We're looking at consumer trends and what the right performance spec and price would be, and asking, can we hit something that has a meaningful performance characteristic that a gamer would care about? Questions have lingered about whether Microsoft will stick to its promise that there will be no Scorpio exclusive games for Xbox One in the future, to which Spencer said, it's not our plan, honestly. Likening the need for games to run on both the original Xbox One and Scorpio to the standard practice of having both recommended and unbounded specifications for PC games. So, I mean, I'm glad that he basically just came out and said, hey, look, this Scorpio is not going to be the trend going forward. Don't expect a new Xbox. I think this is just that one-time thing, because, I mean, PlayStation has said the same thing. The PlayStation 4, don't expect multiple iterations of the PlayStation 4. I mean, basically, they've come out and indirectly said the next thing will be the PS5. This is just a mid-cycle refresh. Maybe a couple years down the line, we'll have the next generation consoles. I still think these are next generation consoles. The Xbox Scorpio more so than the Pro, simply because of the Scorpio specs. I mean, the specs on the Scorpio just, for me, scream next gen. I mean, people can tell me, well, it's going to run Xbox One games. Well, it's also going to run 360 games on backwards compatibility. But the Xbox One Scorpio is a beast of a machine. And looking at those specs, that is next-gen console to me.
Yeah, definitely. And my question is, do you believe, Phil? Do you believe that we're not going to see an Xbox every 2 years? Or maybe it's not 2 years. I mean, what if it's every 3 years? I mean, do you believe, Phil, when he talks about this? Is this like a one-off thing, or is this? I feel like this is the future of consoles. Is the mid-cycle upgrade and keeping up with technology. So if it's not every 2 years, it could be every 3 years.
Right. But I mean, I do believe him when he says, he goes, I'm not trying to turn consoles into the graphics card market. I believe, I don't think, and I understand why this mid-cycle refresh happened. And yeah, it could be 3 or 4 years down the line that we'll see these new versions of a new Xbox console and a new PlayStation console. But I still think console gaming has, or should be like console gaming of yesteryear. This isn't PC gaming. Yes, a lot of this stuff is getting PC specs, and we're seeing options in these games, like the Pro games that are like PC options. But at its core, I think console gaming still needs to maintain some recognizable traits to console gaming that we're used to. And that's why I believe Phil when he says, don't expect this to happen a lot. But, 3 or 4 years down the line, I do expect next-gen console. I don't think this is going to be a 10-year cycle like the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I mean, these systems came out in 2013. We're 3 years in. We're getting these new versions. I expect new consoles in 3 years. I mean, 6 years, I think, is the max you can go with these things. And then we got to see the PS5 and whatever the new Xbox will be after that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 2 years, no. But 3 years, like you suggest, yeah. But I expect that to be the next generation.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is something they could do moving forward. Like, they could have a PlayStation 4 generation with a mid-cycle upgrade 3 years in. Like, they could have a PlayStation 5 generation 6-7 years later and have a mid-cycle PlayStation 5 3 years in. Like, I think that this is something they could do for the future, definitely. I think that's something that console gamers wouldn't have too much of a problem with. Because as we've seen, the mid-cycle refresh in the past has just been a redesign of the system, a slimmer version of the system. So if they simply replace that with a system that's spec'd up a little bit over the original unit, I think that's something that people get used to.
Phil also addressed some of the top fan requests coming to backwards compatibility this month. Some top fans' requests are headed to the list of Xbox One compatible games this month, according to a recent tweet by Phil Spencer. Could top fans' requests include original Xbox compatibility, especially with the 15th anniversary of the original Xbox happening in November? When asked if Microsoft would ever consider supporting backwards compatibility for Xbox One games, Spencer stated on Twitter, "We haven't ruled it out, but we aren't working on it right now. I'd like to find the time to do it, though." So, we're not sure what these titles are yet for November, but these are top fan requests. And whatever those are, I'm sure it'll be a big announcement. They'll probably announce it on the day the Pro is, because that's how Microsoft and Sony are. Usually when one of them does some big announcement, the other one counters with their own. So
can you think of what those might be? Like, what are like some top backwards compatibility requests that people don't have yet? Are all the Halo games available?
Yeah.
Via backwards compatibility? Okay.
I think so. I mean, even then, if they aren't, I mean, you would just buy the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
Other than, like, what one isn't included? Halo 4?
No, Halo 4 is in there, right?
Is Halo 4? Yeah, Halo 4 is in there. What one isn't?
The one, it was ODST and Reach were in there, right?
Yeah. Maybe that one's getting added in. I don't know if that'd be a top request, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe something Call of Duty, maybe something Rockstar. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah. Is Grand Theft Auto 4, is that backwards compatible?
I think Red Dead was like their first title because there was so much hype behind it.
Really? Okay. Yeah, so maybe you're onto something there with that.
A couple of games did drop on backwards compatibility already. First up, Limbo, which has been available, I think, for every games with Gold and PlayStation Plus.
If you don't
own Limbo by now, then I can't help you.
It was free on Steam at some point too.
Like, Limbo has been free every which way possible. And then the other one was Blue Dragon. I don't know what Blue Dragon is.
Very early Xbox 360 role-playing game. Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame, I think, on the character design in that game as well.
Well, that's available now, backwards compatible. As we mentioned, Xbox confirmed Scorpio will support backwards compatible 360 games. So keeping the trend going, going forward, new systems, but they'll support all their old games.
That's
Xbox
Phil's
One.
vision. That's exactly what he's talked about. He's talked about carrying your library with you to whatever piece of hardware you go to. So This is a trend we're going to see continue, and we'll probably see the same thing with whatever comes after the Scorpio. Like all your Scorpio games, all your Xbox One games, all your 360 games are going to migrate with you to the next system as well. Like they really like that idea of the PC games like always being available to you no matter what platform or what rig you've built at that point. So like I can still go back on a PC and play a game from 15 years ago. As a PC game, I can still go back and play that, even though my unit's been upgraded since then. That's the idea that they want to employ with Xbox now as well.
Right. Yep. So those you can expect your Scorpio to play all the 360 games that you're playing right now on your Xbox One. Up next, both Mirror's Edge games will be hitting the EA Access Vault next week. That's Mirror's Edge and Catalyst will both be available on the Vault next week. Bastion is coming to the Xbox One. It'll be free to owners who actually own the 360 version for a limited time. So if you own the 360 version of the game, when it becomes available, you have a limited amount of time. You'll be able to pick up Bastion for the Xbox One, which is an awesome game, by the way. Just an awesome game with an awesome soundtrack and one of the best narrations ever in a game. And the guy he just kills it. He's so good. So pick up Bastion on December 12th. It'll be available on Xbox One, and you can get it if you're a 360 owner who owns that game. You'll be able to pick it up free between December 12th and January 1st. So don't wait and whatnot. If you get an Xbox One for Christmas, hurry up and go download it. You have 6 days to do so. And that's it for the news. A busy week, and we got an even busier week ahead, dude. We have hardware. We have games. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm lost in the fall rush. I'm broke. My head's spinning. I'm tired. Too many games, but I love it. This is the greatest time of the year.
'Tis the season, man. Hell, I just gave up.
You had to. You bought one game that costs 4 games.
Hey, that's it for me, man. I'm done.
Man, you're gonna have to stream that every single. You have to play that every single day.
That's the idea. Is just play the hell out of it and just get my 100 hours out of it.
Seriously, dude. Second Son be damned. Uncharted 4 be damned. You paid almost $300 for Final Fantasy 15. You have to play that day one and nonstop.
That's my plan, definitely.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
My bet is he doesn't even open it.
No, that will not happen. I can promise you.
Oh, it's happening.
I can
now.
promise you that will not happen.
Yeah, that's happening. He won't open it.
I promise you that will not happen.
Okay, it's gonna come out on a Tuesday, and when we record that show on Saturday, I'm gonna be like, Mr. Boyce, did you open that game? You can hear this. Well, and then just bullshit. So, yeah, I know. I've seen this movie before. I know how this plays out.
We'll see. We got a new director.
But Mr. Boyce, where can we find you gaming and tweeting?
As always, I'll be not tweeting at Piccolo930. It's my PSN handle as well. And don't forget, you can find the Thursday Night Indie Spotlight on our Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/shortpauselive. Find us there, 10 p.m. Eastern every Thursday night. We'll fire up an indie game, play it for an hour or so, see what it's all about. So make sure you tune in and talk to us in the chat.
Yeah, hit us up in the chat room. I'm in there watching when Boyce is playing. We'll answer questions, talk to you. Just hang out. We just want to hang out with you. So if you're on Thursday night, 10 o'clock, sitting around, not doing nothing, head over to the Twitch channel, subscribe to the channel so you get a notification, and we'll talk to you about the game as we play it.
Not sure what we'll fire up this week.
Yeah, we didn't have a whole lot of indie titles this week, did we?
Not a ton of games coming out this week. I'm really interested in Ronin from this past week, though, so that's a candidate to fire up for this Thursday. I didn't get to play it because I played Seraph this past week, so Ronin's on my radar. Also, Xenoraid, I think looks pretty cool from this week.
My Name is Mayo. That's an indie title, right?
Yeah, that will not be played. That'll be a 3-minute stream. It'll involve me just cursing and throwing my controller. So, yeah. So either Xenoraid or Ronin, you can expect to see on the show this week.
Well, just stay tuned to the Short Pause Twitter handle. We'll announce it as soon as we figure out which game is going up. So at the Short Pause, follow us there. Also streamed this week. Also check out Frankie's video of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which has one of the most annoying sound effects ever. I think when Frankie was doing an attack, and some guy kept going, ay, like it was just really, really repetitive, and that was the only thing I didn't like about the stream. I actually think the game looks kind of fun. I like the art style in it. It's anime art style, and I'm kind of curious to see how this game expands, how much it opens up, how much there is to do. I'm actually curious to check out the co-op stuff. Hopefully, Frankie finds somebody that you can do the co-op missions with, because I'm interested to see what those are all about. So head over to the Short Pause Gaming channel. Frankie's Dragon Ball Z Let's Play or Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Let's Play is available for your viewing pleasure. You can find me on Twitter at TheDude1979. You can find me on PlayStation Network, TheDude79, and Xbox Live, TheRealDude79. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Short Pause. Visit the website, www.shortpause.com, for all your gaming news, reviews, podcasts, videos, and more. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming. Subscribe to our Twitch channel, Short Pause Live. You can find this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and Google Play. If you like this podcast, if you really like it, if we make you tingle, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating.
You make
Tell
me
us
tingle.
why you like the podcast. Do I make you? That's disgusting. Tell us why you like the podcast. If you don't want to have iTunes, go over to the website. Come into the comments section for this blog post for this podcast. Let us know what you think. If you have some criticisms for us, we can take it. We want to hear from you. Podcast@shortpause.com. You can write anything you want. Questions, feedback, suggestions, anything. We need to hear from you. That's the only way we're going to keep doing this show, is if we hear from you. We know you're listening. We want to hear from you. Send us an email, send us a question, send us some criticisms, send us some feedback, send me flowers. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, we want to hear from you. That's the only way this show will get better. Or, if you don't want to write anything, if you're like me and you can't write for download the Wave app. It's available on iOS and Android devices. You can leave us a voice message right there on that. Just find Short Pause Gaming. Hold down the button to press to record your voice, and boom, it's there. We can listen to your question. We can actually take the question, the audio, plug it into this show, and talk about your question live on the show. So we want to hear from you. There's multiple ways you can get a hold of us. We want to hear from you. We want to get you involved. So for Mr. Boyce, I'm Brent Felsing. Frankie and Ben will be back next week. Thank you again for listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. We hope you all have a great night. See you next week, everybody.
Bye, guys.